news to start off the show with, is it? You have DeSantis in a car wreck. You've got LeBron James' son goes through cardiac arrest.
And it's
what a way
be
to start the
super
show.
hot.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be super hot.
Holy
so
cow.
the best to both of them.
Yeah.
And we need you to stay cool out there, which is difficult to do when it's like this. So when we come back, we're going to talk to Dean DeVore, AccuWeather meteorologist. We'll find out what we're in store for this week. Yeah, heat, we know, we get it. But how long is this really going to go on? Dean is next on KMOX.
And a great place to stay cool is the St. Charles Hyundai showroom because it's brand new. I think they're still putting on the final finishing touches. It's a state-of-the-art showroom for St. Charles Hyundai. And by the way, St. Charles Hyundai is the #1 volume Hyundai dealership in the Metro St. Louis area, and they have been since 2015. Plus, they know that new vehicle inventory is tight, but they were able to get a special allocation of new Hyundai Tucsons and Hyundai Santa Fe's. So if you have been looking for a new car, looking specifically at Hyundai, now is the time to check out St. Charles Hyundai. And through July, take advantage of up to 1,000 additional trade allowances towards your new Hyundai. And that is up, through the end of July. And we're creeping to the end of that. It's July 25th. So you want to head on out there. Out there being the St. Charles Automotive Group. They are conveniently located a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, just off Highway 70, or visit them at stcharleshyundai.com.
KMOX and Michael Calhoun awarded first place for news series by the Missouri Broadcasters Association.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. No one should be injured or be the victim of assault when using a rideshare service. These companies need to be held accountable.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Glickert with the St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and I know the secret. My unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd love to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no HCG, no surgery, and no hypnosis,
call my office now at 314-207-8600.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I really needed some help getting rid of those pandemic pounds, and St. Louis Weight Loss Secret has made it easy for me. I started losing weight right away and have lost 20 pounds in just 1 month eating real food, healthy food. I feel great. I'm going to keep going. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month, a half pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 314-207-8600, 314-207-8600, or online at moweightloss.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Trusted information, live and local. From the award-winning KMOX Newsroom.
It's Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji on KMOX. And it's going to be gross, disgusting, hot for a few days at least. And we've got the man who you can blame for it. We go to the Quiver River Electric guest line. AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore is with us. Hey, man, why'd you do this?
You know, my nickname here in the office is Heat Miser, and so when it really is, because you know, it's funny. I lost a lot of weight. I don't know if you guys knew this. At one point in my life, I weighed 380 pounds, and I'm down to a svelte 230 these days.
Wow.
But
good for you, man.
It went opposite. I used to hate the heat and humidity, and now I kind of like the warmth and humidity, and don't like the cold as much here, being a little thinner me. But look. This time last year, we had already had 7 100-degree days or better under our belt, and we have yet to do one officially at Lambert, where we keep the official records this year. So I think that's what's making this long, hot week, which will get more brutal as the week goes on, probably hard to take here, even though if you look at some of the historical heat waves for us, days and days of 100 or better, this is going to be short-lived. I think the peak of the heat and humidity, Amy and Chris are going to come in here with 100 degrees or better here for the last couple of days of the week. And then it does look like there's some showers and thunderstorms that'll start to push at us, and some less hot and less critically hot air will be pushing towards us. And so that should bring us down as we go through the second half of the weekend into early next week. But it is going to get pretty brutal here for a few days. And then add to that the problems with air quality that may start to come in as we're starting to see another round of this smoke and haze come in from the central and western Canadian wildfires coming at us from the north and west.
Yeah, you know, when I drive to work every morning, I drive down, Highway 40 or Market, where the arch, the St. Louis skyline is in front of my windshield the whole way. And I feel like more days than not this summer, the arch has been obscured by haze or smoke or something. And I have asked myself, is it always like this in the summer, or has this been particularly bad when it comes to a visible haze or smoke or whatever it is that I'm looking at?
Well, Amy, that's been the problem with these Canadian wildfires, and we've been talked about that. I think didn't we talk a few weeks ago about, and so not only do we have the smoke to contend with from the smoke particles themselves that cause air pollution, but in these hot and humid air masses, when we've got that and we've had it at times, and at the surface we kind of retain some pollutants, and then that hot and humid air hits that and creates the ground ozone. So yes, I think for the summer, for not getting to 100, we've had issues where there's days where it looks like it should be 100 or better with the haze and the wildfire smoke. That part of it's not going away. So breathability can be tough. And then you add into this just wicked heat. And I expect a couple of days, 2-3 days to be 100 or better here second half of this week. And those real feels are going to get to 110 in the afternoons. We talked about, I know you were talking about Ronnie James and Bronny James in that situation, but think about all of the high school and college sports that are going to start ramping up here soon with preseason workouts getting ready for and so thankfully it seems like more and more in the modern age we're getting more and more ability to take kids and young people and anybody indoors when they can in those most drastic situations. But we're going to have to be careful of that here, especially this next week or so as we get into this heart of the heat wave. Yeah,
just to follow up on that, Dean, a good friend from St. Louis, Julia Conan, is a professional runner, and she moved to Arizona. She's in Phoenix. Now, she's running 100, 120 miles a week, which means you're doubling. They have moved a lot of the professional runners into on a treadmill in the afternoon. They'll run in the morning, and she posted a photo. It was 96 degrees at 6 a.m. She got her first run in, but her second run, they're going indoors because it's just so hot. You can't it's not beneficial to run when it's 115 degrees outside.
I just mentioned this when we did because the Cardinals are in Phoenix. And so when I was doing the game day forecast, it hasn't been below 100 for a high temperature since June 29th there. And this string of what they've had of the 115, 116, 117 many days here over the last several weeks. So yeah, it's interesting how people learn how to adjust and need to adjust, because I think the alternative is not good. And I think this summer it could be even worse, even though this is going to be a short-lived kind of major heat wave with a few days 100 or better, because that seems to be our bellwether here in St. Louis. Other parts of the country, a heat wave is 90 or better for 3 or more days. Some think here we feel like 95 to 100 is kind of the starting point where we really talk about serious heat wave, because low 90s are in our lexicon a lot during the summers normally. But yeah, this with the combination of the possible potential air quality issues and the fact that we haven't done this, your body acclimates. So last year when you had 6-7 days already 100 degrees, a 3 or 4 day stretch wouldn't have been as hard to take. Since we haven't actually hit 100 this year officially on the thermometer, I think that's what will make even the short-lived one a little harder to take here over the next several days.
Yeah, we've already had the month of June, I believe, the world average temperature, the hottest ever June we've had. We've already had globally the hottest average day this month. Is this just something we're going to have to expect getting worse and worse as the years go on, or is this a blip?
Well, first of all, I will say that, remember, official records have only been kept a little bit in the billions of year history of the Earth. So I think, sometimes I chuckle a little bit, but in recorded history, yes, I think we got to keep an eye on how we're dealing with these climate changes. There's still questions to be answered exactly what all the causes are. And I think there's good debate at times on that. But what we have to do and what we have to really think about is where we meet the weather here at the surface, the everyday person. We have to be cognizant of these stretches where it is going to get uncomfortably and dangerously hot and humid. We've got one of those coming, especially with the potential for poor air quality. And I'm pretty sure that even with a little bit of a reduction towards the end of the week and the weekend, we will be cutting back to near 100 a few more times and have air quality issues going forward. But Chris, it does look like these are the patterns that we're in and the trends that we're in. Certainly things that we're going to watch here over the next several years as people deal more and more with longer stretches of hot and humid air, and then also very violent weather too. We're seeing longer stretches of that and bigger rain events and all those kinds of things as the climate seems to adjust here over the next couple of years.
Dean DeVore, thank you for the information. We are upset with you for bringing the weather down. Thank you.
Well, I can only do so much. I report, you decide. You guys have a great day. Thanks.
That's Dean DeVore, AccuWeather meteorologist, visiting with us here on KMOX. Now, Bill DeWitt III, who is the president of the St. Louis Cardinals, had some pretty direct words about Denny Hoskins, legislator out of Missouri, regarding sports betting and the fact that it has failed to pass again. We are going to talk to Mr. DeWitt. That is coming up here in a moment with Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Hey guys, this is Dave from the Dave Glover Show, 1 to 5 p.m. on KMOX. So you can't do a talk show without talking about politics now and then. I consider myself to be a down-the-middle, independent, free-thinking guy. I am capable of my mind being changed. Hopefully I'm capable of at least challenging you. With 5 people on the show, you're going to find someone who you align with. It's honest, it's real, it's challenging, and it's fun. That's 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. every day on KMOX.
The time is 10:28, and the time check brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, so why don't we do something about it? With Neovitin Men's 50 Plus, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Formulated for men over 50, Neovitin Men's 50 Plus gives you B vitamins to support energy and our proprietary physician-formulated blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Do something about your health today with Neovitin Men's 50 Plus. Available at your local Schnucks and Deerbergs.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. This month is National Carpet Cleaning Month, so we have a very special deal for you. 3 rooms, Zero Res Clean at just $129. And we will throw in a 4th room for free. So during the month of July, it is 3 rooms of carpeting, Zero Res Clean for just $129, and we'll throw in a 4th room for free. Also, take advantage of 20% off savings on your air duct cleaning this month. We can clean your tile. We can clean your air ducts. We can clean everything you have, and we will do it expertly. The one thing you want to do is avoid the do-it-yourself stuff. Never, ever rent something from a grocery store or borrow it from a friend. You're just bringing someone else's yucky stuff into your home. You can do much better than that. 314-474-2020. Find out why we have a 4.9 Google rating after 4,700 reviews. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
At 10:30 right now, we've got some sun, 86 degrees downtown at the Arch. An extended heat wave continues through the week with the peak Thursday into Friday. Expect real field temperatures to reach 105 to 110 over the next several afternoons. A new wave of drone attacks in Ukraine this morning. CBS's Rami Inocencio is in western Ukraine.
Sirens blared over the capital city for more than 3 hours. This morning, though, thankfully, we did get confirmation that there were no injuries or casualties or damages to any buildings. Also, that all drones, an unknown number of them, but believed to be Iranian-made, were shot down.
There are signs that the months-long lull in COVID infections has come to an end. CBS's Alexander Tin.
According to new CDC data, more than 7,000 Americans were hospitalized last week with COVID-19, up from more than 6,000 the week before. While this is far below the level seen at this time last year, when the United States was nearing a peak of more than 44,000 hospitalizations from a summer surge that was straining many hospitals, this new uptick is the latest sign that this year's slowdown in the virus could now be coming to an end.
The Cardinal Report is sponsored by Aloha Pools USA. Swim next summer. AlohaPoolsUSA.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman. The Cardinals play tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. It starts at 8:40, pregame at 7:45. After their comeback win last night, scoring 5 runs in the 9th inning and beating the Diamondbacks 10-6, they'll go for a win in game number 2 of the series. Steven Matz will start. Merrill Kelly, the right-hander, goes for the Diamondbacks with the lefty Matz coming in after winning his first game of the season last week against the Cubs. This Cardinals Report is sponsored by Aloha Pools USA. Swim next summer, AlohaPoolsUSA.com.
Forecast for today, partly sunny with a high 95 to 100. Tonight, a thunderstorm with a low 78. Tomorrow, thunderstorm in parts of the area with the high of 96. At the moment, it's 86. It feels like 92 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Cardinals baseball is in full swing.
Right center field, a grand slam for Nolan Gorman.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
And it's a gunner! An opposite field home run for Wilson Contreras.
Cardinals baseball. Cardinals announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Three Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt. Hi, I'm Miles Michaelis.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It's the Cards and Diamondbacks tonight. Emron Total Access, 7:45. First pitch, 8:40.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
There is a senator who insists on tying these two issues together. So what that ends up looking like is while we passed sports betting clean out of the House, there was no language about VLTs on it. We are almost certain that in the Senate, there's going to be a senator who attaches his VLT regulation language onto this bill. And we're hoping to find a path for sports betting that doesn't include it. But I really do worry that that's the same obstacle we run into every year. We're going to do it again this year.
Representative Ashley Aune was, she was prescient in that. She was right. That's exactly what happened. Sports betting did not pass in the state of Missouri in this past legislative session, though it did fly right through the House, but it got hung up in the Senate. And we are joined today by Bill DeWitt III, president of the Cardinals, on the Quiver River Electric guest line. We welcome in Bill, who was critical of Senator Denny Hoskins, and that's who Representative Awney was speaking about in a recent interview with Legal Sports Report. Bill DeWitt III is with us today on KMOX. Good morning, Bill. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Happy to be with you guys today.
I have to admit that I am a proponent of sports betting, so I am very biased in this situation. I've done work for a sports betting network, and I think that there is a benefit to the state. We know what the hang up is here, but it seems like there is a lot of frustration coming from you on this matter in particular. I know it's not just you, but again, I referenced the interview recently. It seems like it's sort of reached this point of supreme frustration.
Yeah, it is. It's frustrating because we feel like we have an issue that all the teams in Missouri support, the casinos in Missouri support, the mobile operators who would, basically activate this new industry support. And we have support of the, legislators for the most part. It's a winning issue. We think our fans would like to see it. And it's really, not everybody wants to see it. I'll be the first to admit that. I think that it's an issue that, needs to be legalized so that we can tax and regulate it properly. But in generally from a political point of view, the support is there. We just run into this filibuster problem in the Senate, and that's kind of that keeps happening, and so that's why it's been very frustrating.
Bill, if someone's listening to this and maybe they don't get involved in sports betting in any way, so they don't feel particularly strongly either way, in your opinion, should Missourians feel strongly about this, and why?
I do, because what's happening is all of the states around us have legal sports betting, and people are just traveling across, in our case, the river to Illinois to do it, or in Kansas City, they're going over to Kansas City, Kansas to do it. And so the tax revenue is just leaving our state. Also, I think that it's an issue that is happening with illegal operators. So it's going to happen. People are going to sports bet in Missouri, but right now they're doing it in a situation where it's unregulated, it's untaxed. Who knows what you're allowed to bet on in these illegal marketplaces? And kind of like in a way the marijuana argument, it's happening. Why criminalize it, and why not just get the tax revenue and actually regulate it effectively? So it's kind of one of those arguments too with sports betting. If you don't happen to like it, if you like it, then you obviously want it for that reason too.
Bill DeWitt III is visiting with us here on KMOX. Why do you suppose there is the opposition to having this done by certain people, like Senator Hoskins?
Well, from best that we can tell, the Illinois slot machine industry has been very active politically with a lot of donations to the House and Senate members in Missouri. And the reason is because it was legalized, or slot machines were expanded in Illinois, and that helped the Illinois slot machine industry. And so that's what they're trying to achieve in Missouri. So they're, making huge donations. And their only chance of success is if they hitch a ride on the winning issue of sports betting. Mm-hmm. And so what's happened is Senator Hoskins and maybe a few others, but mostly him, have said, well, okay, I'm fine with sports betting, but you have to expand slot machines in addition to creating the sports betting industry, because I guess they want them all over the state, in truck stops and gas stations and bars and restaurants. And that's neither here nor there from our point of view, but the casino industry hates that because they saw what happened in Illinois. Slots were expanded and it crushed their slot industry with their casinos. So they're against that. And so for everybody to get on the same page, we just need a clean bill. And to get this passed, we need a clean bill that's specifically oriented towards sports betting and not attaching these VLTs or slot machines to the bill, because that will bring it down. People, that's not a winning issue. And that's why they keep trying to attach to our issue, because they know if they stood on their own, they would lose. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, and the main funders for the video lottery PAC, J&J Ventures, Las Vegas-based Golden Entertainment, Excel Entertainment Gaming out of Illinois, and Senator Denny Hoskins has led a filibuster the past 2 sessions to kill the sports betting efforts, and he even said in 2023, quote, "I'll be an obstructionist until I get my way." I'm not quite sure how the Senate and how those who are proponents of legalizing sports betting in Missouri get past this one senator who just remains completely intractable for this one thing, for VLTs.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so frustrating. And it should be noted that I guess filibuster rules in Missouri are such that it's very easy for one senator to block anything, and that's kind of what's going on. But so our point is he has one more session to go, and then he's term limited out. So presumably we might have a decent chance in 2025. But in the meantime, we're working on potentially initiative petition process that would give this to a vote of the people in the fall of November of 2024. And so we're looking at some language for that and seeing if that might be an option for us before Senator Hoskins' term limits out.
And that being the sports ballot initiative, which would not be contingent on legislation, but instead would let voters change the Missouri Constitution.
Exactly. Yeah, it would just be one of those things you would get in the ballot initiative that you get in the voting booth. And we've all seen those. And it would be a change in the Missouri Constitution. So we would go directly with a clean sports betting bill. And it would look similar to what was passed in the House, to be honest, a lot of the same provisions. And so, we think it's politically palatable, and that may be the way we have to go if we can't get something done in the legislature next year.
Cardinals President Bill DeWitt III visiting with us here on KMOX. As I mentioned earlier, I'm biased in favor of sports betting. I happen to think it's a net positive. Certainly the Cardinals would benefit from this. All the teams in the state would. If this does eventually go through, what would the plans be in terms of there being maybe a sports book that is built on the premises or a Ballpark Village? I just saw the Cubs opened up theirs. I don't know. I think it was a couple of weeks ago they opened up theirs. There are other teams around the country that are doing the same. Would that be in the works for the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, I think something like that could happen. We our whole goal, if this does get approved, is to make sure it's available for people that want to do it, but also preserve that family entertainment aspect if there are people that don't want to do it. So they don't get, it's not in every bar and restaurant at Ballpark Village, as an example. You would pick one spot maybe and have a sports book type of place. And so that would be our goal with that. And I think we've seen our, teams in our division, almost all of them have it legalized in their state, and they're activating sports books, or it's different in every state. So not every team would be able to do a sports book, and we'll see if we will be able to. But in any event, we think it activates a little bit of a younger demographic, a new crowd. They become a little more passionate about our players and our sport that we've seen in other states where it's been legal. And it activates, quite honestly, a new sponsorship category for the Cardinals. So the teams want it for those reasons. But as a Missouri citizen, I also want it just because I'd rather have it taxed and regulated rather than just, in the illegal marketplace.
Yeah, driving across the river to place a bet sucks. It's not great for anybody who does it, and I know a ton of people who do. That's exactly how they have to participate. We're again with Cardinals President Bill DeWitt III, and I know people listening are mindful of what's happening with the team. We are, as of right now, 1 week away The trade deadline is a week from today. We've already heard John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations, say there will be some changes. What do you envision the team looks like a week from today?
Well, I would echo Mo's point without specifics because we don't really know them yet. That we definitely want to make some changes. It's an unusual year for us. We're not used to being, chasing the rest of the division. We all know why. There are lots of reasons why, but we all know the story of this team underperforming this year, and it's just it's kind of exciting in a way to approach the deadline with a different perspective. Certainly, we don't want to be doing any selling, but if you're in that position, you do look to next year with some of the moves you make, perhaps. But I do think that there is still a chance with this team this year. They showed some great life last night, and the talent is certainly there. So we'll see what Mo has up his sleeve. The goal would be to get better this year, or really look towards improving the club and being back at the top of the division next year.
So the idea of any sort of wouldn't be a full-scale tear down, but I know some people have been talking about that. There's just no chance of that kind of thing happening.
Well, I mean, look, you never say never. I think you have to see what's happening in the rest of the marketplace. It always takes two to tango to make a deal. And I think, we still got a little ways to go before the other side of any transaction kind of knows what they want to do. And so it's sort of a non-committal answer, but until you really know what other teams are willing to give you for assets that might help them this season, you really don't know to what extent you might be looking to make changes.
Thank you for your time again today, Bill DeWitt III. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll keep talking with you as the sports betting thing hopefully moves forward. Hopefully next year something can happen, and we appreciate your time talking with us about it.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bill DeWitt III, president of the St. Louis Cardinals, with us here on KMOX. Did you see this? Is coming up next.
Michael's Baths. You can visit them at michaelsbaths.com or give them a call at 636-775-0800. Family owned and operated, locally owned and operated. Michael and his daughter run the company, and what they want to do is give you the highest quality bathroom with low maintenance products and at the best price possible. A lot of times 30 to 50% lower than some of the other bids that you may get out there. One of the reasons or one of the ways they can keep the prices low, they have a very low overhead. They're a small company. They have 6 employees, so they don't have a lot of overhead that they have to pay. Also, they don't have a showroom. What they do when you want a project from Michael's Baths, they come to you. They bring samples of the products to your home so you can see what the colors and the textures look like in your bathroom. They're experienced custom bathroom remodeling contractors and designers that understand that you want your new bathroom to be functional and affordable as well as beautiful. And that's whether you just need a walk-in shower or tub, or maybe you want a complete remodel. Michael's Baths can transform your ordinary bathroom into a personal oasis. Visit them today, michaelsbaths.com, 636-775-0800.
Get ready to celebrate KMOX Day at the ballpark, returning to Busch Stadium Wednesday, August 30th. With a purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home an exclusive KMOX Cardinals stein, celebrating the all-time great That's a Winner Jack Buck Call.
The winner, a World Series winner for the Cardinals.
Only fans who present their theme ticket at the distribution will be eligible to receive the item. Exchanges will not be available at distribution. KMOX Day at the ballpark, Wednesday, August 30th. Get your tickets now.
When you read financial news updates, popular headlines include inflation, 401ks, and taxes. But bottom line, it all comes back to the number one fear, which is running out of money. If you're close or in retirement, you have 2 big jobs: protect your life savings and create income for retirement. So how do you do that? You call Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group, and you put together a customized, comprehensive plan. Start checking off those boxes for income for life. tax-free retirement, and much more.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Call today, 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. BWA and All Financial Group, LLC are separate companies.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Amy Mark scores
This is my show, my microphone.
on KMOX.
Did you see that thing?
I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
All right, a little bit of a different Did You See This? And Did You See This being the Barbie movie? And I bring this up because it's turned into a culture war conversation. Matt Gaetz and his wife, saw
really?
it. Yeah. And they all dressed in pink. And every time I
They
leave,
did?
And then
I missed this.
they came back from the Barbie movie saying what they did or didn't like about it. And then when I've been driving, to work or going to see friends, it's kind of fun to pass the different theaters. I pass the Esquire, wherever, and you see people going into the theater dressed in pink. So you and I had talked that the biggest voice against the Barbie movie, perhaps the most passionate, vociferous voice, has been Ben Shapiro. And he has a 49-minute podcast where he quote, all caps, destroys the Barbie movie. And I couldn't bring myself to listen to it because I don't care that much. I don't really have the emotional bandwidth to care that much. However,
yes, please,
I did.
Ben, tell me why I should be mad at
So
Barbie.
I've been working my way through it. I listened to
Wait,
about.
you're working your way through it like
The
you're
Ben-
reading the Odyssey?
Yes,
Come on.
trying to make my way through it. He is very passionate about this. And some would say too passionate. And part of me wants to say, whoa, man, calm down. Don't see the movie. To me, this is not the most pressing issue facing our country. But one takeaway that I've read from different people who have seen it and pushed back against it, forget about some of the sexual innuendo, which is not appropriate for 10-year-olds and hopefully goes over their heads. But beyond that, there's an overall theme that men and women cannot coexist happily, that they're constantly adversarial in their relationship. If anyone has seen the Barbie movie and feels that that's a big takeaway, 314-436-7900. And that's going to be my thing. I think I might see the Barbie movie for work purposes because that has been the overall theme. But Ben Shapiro is pretty upset about it.
I think.
And I
without
respect some
having
of the
seen
stuff
it,
that Ben Shapiro, some of his opinions, not
Yeah.
recently, not in the past year or two, but he's pretty upset about it.
without having seen it, I
Yeah.
cannot make a judgment. My guess is that it's just feeding the outrage machine. That's all it is. Here's a thing that you need to be pissed about.
And what's
That's all
interesting
it is.
from kind of the more progressive reviewers, they love it because they're saying it's a feminist manifesto, which kind of goes along the lines that men and women are constantly in it and necessarily in an adversarial relationship, which I don't necessarily agree with. So now Did you see this is going to be, I might have to see the Barbie movie. But yes, I have been working my way through the Ben Shapiro podcast. I'm about halfway
you know what's
through.
going to happen? I'm going to end up seeing Oppenheimer twice before I see Barbie. I will see the Barbie movie.
That's not special, though. You already told us that.
Yeah. So
you've been telling us you're seeing Oppenheimer twice.
And I've already bought tickets.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if you saw this or not, Amy, but a study recently, I've been meaning to bring this up to you for a few days. Are you regular?
Oh my gosh, you wouldn't even believe it.
Okay.
I'm a gold medalist.
Guess what?
What?
Guess what?
What?
You are very much less likely to develop cognitive issues later in life.
Listen, guys, this is a big deal for me, and I know people get uncomfortable talking about BM.
Yeah.
Your daily bowel movement.
Right.
You have to have, first of all, daily bowel movements. Plural.
Yes.
Plural.
Well, you don't have to.
No, if I don't.
Oh, if you don't.
I will literally want to call 911.
Okay. Well, here's the story. Research presented by the Alzheimer's Association International Conference in Amsterdam says there is a 73% higher risk of subjective cognitive decline if you only have a BM every 3 or more days.
Oh my gosh, I would die.
Yes. So if you go 3 days or more regularly without, any movement happening, there is a 73% higher risk that you'll develop some sort of cognitive decline. So I feel good there. I'm good.
Oh yeah, no, They always say that there are two things that runners do not have to deal with, and that's constipation and insomnia. It's pretty true. But the thing is, guys, like one of my big fears, you and I have a lot of fear.
Yes.
Fears. I like fears better than fear. Fear sounds existential.
Right.
Fears. One of them for me is severe constipation, because when I was a little girl, my grandma was in the hospital and she had a shared hospital room. And she told me that the woman next to her hadn't gone to the bathroom in like a month. And that if she didn't go, she was going to die.
Okay, that's
and
not
that
good.
stayed with me. And I am afraid. If you don't go more than twice in a day, I feel like I might lose my mind. I'll have to call 911.
What percentage of the country, of the world,
Yeah.
do you believe experiences constipation?
Oh, 99.
16%. It's a pretty low number.
That's not true.
That's what these
I bet
statistics
Americans
say.
are more constipated than every other country.
I bet they are too.
Yeah.
Just
Because
because
we
of
eat
the
so much junk.
processed, ultra processed stuff. Yeah, no question. So you need to work on making more BMs, people. Want to keep your brain
That's
active.
right.
Hey, we're going to talk to CBS tech expert. Hey, Ian Scher joins us next on KMOX.
Stole many a man's soul of faith.
Fair Winds River's Edge is an award-winning independent living community located in the heart of St. Charles. Voted best independent living by U.S. News and World Report, Fair Winds River's Edge provides the life-enhancing independent living services you need to support your best self. We believe that joy isn't just for the young, it's for the young at heart. With services and amenities handling life's necessities, you can dance and enjoy live entertainment at happy hour, participate in an aqua fitness class in a warm water pool, or go out to Crown Candy for lunch. Say goodbye to home maintenance, cooking and cleaning, and hello to the fun. In our active community for adults 55 plus, you'll cultivate connections and make meaningful memories in a community that feels like home. Join the fun at Fair Winds River's Edge on Thursday, August 24th at our 50s sock hop with live entertainment by Backstreet Cruisers. Call 636-754-2317 to RSVP.
Hey guys, Glover here, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra, and you can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house, on the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
We all know about the speed of sound, but have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? Drive too fast and you could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, because one way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we've got some sun. It's 88 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour: the extreme heat is about to spread even farther to the northern part of the country. Nearly 200 million Americans experiencing temperatures above 90 degrees today. The heat wave is moving across the country from the west into the Midwest. Meteorologist Craig Allen is tracking it from coast to coast.
From the Pacific coast all the way to the Atlantic coast. As the heat dome expands in aerial coverage, it goes from north to south, from border to border. The only place in the United States where you might feel it a little bit cooler is along the immediate west coast, the Pacific Coast Highway over towards the Pacific itself, up and down from Los Angeles to about the Pacific Northwest. Those areas may see temperatures more normal for this time of year.
For St. Louis, expect AccuWeather real field temperatures to reach 105 to 110 over the next several afternoons. Emergency call center workers say they're understaffed and overworked. CBS News correspondent Cammie McCormick.
911 workers say they're suffering burnout from having too few co-workers. A new study out today says that at the same time, there are more frequent calls to emergency services, and many workers at those centers feel undertrained. In some cases, the staff shortages are so severe that callers to 911 are being directed to voicemail.
St. Charles County Council recently funded expanded use of license plate readers, which will be installed around major roads and intersections. County Police Chief Kurt Frizz says they're turning to technology more and more.
In the last couple of months, we've had a couple SWAT barricades that we are using micro drones to go in, send a set of SWAT officers into the building. We've actually sent robots and drones in, and we're not having to force the hand of a confrontation.
The chief says the license readers can not only identify stolen vehicles, but track down ones that flee from the scene of a crime. The Bronze Boot returns to downtown St. Louis.
St. Louis University and SIU Edwardsville will battle for the Joseph at City Park. The game was played at Busch Stadium 2 from 1972 to 1986. The game will be part of an evening doubleheader. The men's game will kick at 7:30, preceded by the women's game at 5 o'clock. Tickets go on sale Monday, July 31st. Joe Pott, KMOX Sports.
The KMOX Business Desk tracking earnings.
Shares of General Motors lower, with investors concerned about the car maker's slow ramp up in electric vehicles. On the other hand, General Electric reporting quarterly results that blew past expectations on demand for its jet engines. After the bell today, we hear from Google parent Alphabet and Microsoft. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Dow from Stifel's up 64 points to 35,476.
KMOX AccuWeather, it is going to be hot and quite humid, up to 96 to 100. Real feels 105 to 110. We'll do it again tomorrow with some thunderstorms around early, and then low 100 thermometer temperatures for highs Thursday and Friday. The real feels could reach 110. Some relief for the weekend ahead. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Hello Garage. Right now, sun and 88 in Florissant, 88 St. Peter's, 88 downtown at the Arch, where at the moment it currently feels like 94 degrees. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hello Garage elevates your garage. Get organized and get that extra entertaining space. Unlike others, our prices are fair and reasonable. Plus, we offer discounts to first responders and military members. Go online at hellogarage.com.
The Chris and Amy Show.
Sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info at cardinals.com.
Amy Marchkors, Chris Ranji. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Oh, hey.
Hey, let's go back to the guest line, shall we?
We shall.
The Quiver River Electric guest line. That's what we call it. And CBS tech expert Ian Scher, a regular guest on our show who gives us great information, is back to do the same again. Ian, thank you for being with us this morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Great.
Doing pretty well. And Ian, this is my question for you and why we wanted to call you in the first place. A good friend of mine got married and moved, bought a house, right? Really nice house, a smart home in many ways because it has the cameras and the security systems. But here's the thing. There was, I think it's an Amazon security system. So it's got the account. It alerts people. If you open the garage door, it goes to the app on their phone. Well, the people who sold the house didn't really go out of their way to change the account or cancel the account for the house. So my friend has unplugged all the cameras that they can unplug, but some of the systems are hardwired into the house, like the doorbell, the garage door, and other things. And it's become like a real issue, a real privacy issue, because the old homeowners still have access to those accounts. And that was my question. These smart home features seem great, but how big of a deal is it when people move, especially if the previous homeowners aren't especially cooperative?
Yeah, I mean that's a huge issue, and I ran across it myself when I moved into my current home. The previous homeowners had not remembered to remove their Ring doorbell, which is also owned by Amazon, from their account, and I couldn't access it. And so suddenly this camera that fortunately is pointed outside my house, but was not mine, right? It was there. It was still under their account. I couldn't control it. And just like your friend, it was hardwired. So it's not like I could do much other than, pulling out my screwdriver and putting a hole in the wall by removing all the wires and everything. And so it was really annoying. And I had to wait a couple of days until they went and removed our house effectively from their account, which they did finally. But when people are not willing, it becomes a huge issue. And honestly, one of the things that the companies are really behind on is dealing with these types of problems, right? They're pretty used to when you have an account, you're missing a password, helping you out with that stuff. But when it comes to stuff like changing hands of ownership, and in particular, in a situation like this, where depending on the state, there's actually laws around what needs to be kept with the house and what doesn't, and maybe they're okay with that or maybe they're not. It can get really messy.
So how often does this kind of thing happen?
It's hard to tell. Just anecdotally, it seems like it's pretty common. But part of it, I think, is that a lot of us are forgetful. And so, it's kind of like we may remember and get those checklists when we're selling a house from our realtor telling us, make sure to tell the electric company and all that stuff. But it hasn't become standard issue yet to remind people to, kind of deregister the house from Amazon or whatever else. So I think part of it is honestly just people catching up to the times. Mm-hmm. And then you have on top of that, potentially any emotions that the previous homeowner might have, which, in any situation can suddenly make it a little more sticky, right?
Yes, I think that's what was the issue here. I think it was an emotional situation why the homeowner
Absolutely.
was moving. And so neither of the homeowners wanted to, this couple did not want to cooperate, did not want to communicate. I think everything, is like going to lawyers. And so the new homeowner.
My question, like, why would you not want to cooperate here? What's the benefit to an old homeowner to
Well,
keep that?
I think, I think it was less of like they wanted to do it as they were fighting about bigger things with lawyers. And so
Yeah.
they just weren't paying attention.
Exactly, right? I mean, I think there is, considering that, as the saying goes, right, possession is 9/10 of the law. I don't think that any court would ever even question whether or not you should have access to those things, and the previous owner should have given it up. I think she brings up a very good point, right? It's more about the process and probably much bigger things, and this gets caught up in the middle. And unfortunately, is a huge privacy nightmare as it's happening. Like I said, I was lucky enough the camera was pointing outside the house, and we were on good terms with the previous homeowners. I can't imagine what it would be like if those cameras were pointed inside my house, even if I was on good terms or if I was not on good terms. So it's definitely a tough one.
Yeah, I think it's been a nightmare, to be honest. I mean, and even with the app being able to control light switches, apps on your phone, being able to control garage doors. I mean, it goes beyond even the security cameras. It has been an absolute nightmare. So if you are a new homeowner, what are some things that new homeowners buying smart homes with previous owners, what should they at the very basic level be aware of?
So one of the things I did, because I was curious myself, was that I asked our realtor before we signed all the paperwork, right? Or maybe it was after we signed the initial letter, was to make sure we had a list of everything that conveyed, right? Everything that went with the house. And part of that was so that I would know what I needed to buy, right? Mm-hmm. But also knowing that on paper it says, no, this doorbell is going to be yours. So part of it is making sure that all of those things are written down ahead of time. And that means when you're buying, of course, paying attention, right? Seeing what's there. And I honestly, when I got into the house, I did not know we had smart light switches in here. And I mean, it was a nice surprise, but one of those things where you have to get good at either eyeing it yourself or make sure that you talk to your realtor when you're at that process of putting in a bid or just afterward. You're doing those walkthroughs. Make sure you ask them, hey, are you seeing any smart devices around here that I should write down on the piece of paper and saying, make sure it conveys along with the house and make sure I have access to it. And it's just about making sure you add those steps into the process.
CBS tech expert Ian Scher visiting with us here on KMOX. Probably the biggest news of the week in the tech world, of this week anyway, is the rebranding of Twitter. Elon Musk has decided to call it X. It seems like there are some complications and certainly some confusion with his decision to do so.
Yes, among other things. It's actually very interesting because some biographers who've written about him in the past have popped up on Twitter and, of course, talked about, apparently he's had an obsession with the letter X for decades. Initially, when he was working at PayPal, you may remember that's where he got his first kind of windfall of money was when he was working at PayPal, when it was bought. And he wanted it to be X at the time. He didn't like PayPal as a name. Well, apparently this obsession has continued. Obviously, SpaceX, right? And that works okay because at least there's the word space in front of it. But also, he even wanted the different Tesla models. You may have noticed that it's the Model S, the Model X, the Model Y, and he had wanted the other one to be Model E, but apparently Model E was taken, right? So he ended up using the internet equivalent of an E, which is 3. That's why it's the Model 3. So he's always had this kind of weird X affiliation. And so, in a lot of ways, this is his opportunity to bring that back. Look, if it makes him happy, he's the one who's setting $44 billion on fire, and he's having fun with it. So all the power to him, I suppose. But it is interesting because you see a lot of people saying, look, Twitter, whatever you feel about it, is one of the most recognizable brands on the planet. And it takes a lot of effort to make that happen and to have that icon be something that is recognizable along with the Nike symbol and the Apple logo and stuff like that. And so to toss that in the trash is really surprising.
Well, usually it happens when there's some sort of real big controversy and a company has to totally rename itself because it's nothing but toxic. And Twitter has gotten worse, I think, objectively, but it isn't at that point yet. So it seems like a really odd thing to make that flip 17 years in.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, you can ask Facebook how their rebrand into Meta went, right? I think that a lot of times these things just, it's not really worth the trouble, I think, in the end. And but that's my personal opinion, right? I think it's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening here. He has obviously a whole community of people who really support him, and they're really excited about it. So amen to them. I think that the key question I'm going to be keeping an eye on is whether or not this changes the dynamic of what Twitter has always been, right? Which is this place that is, yes, it's not as big as Facebook or as big as TikTok or whatever, but it is where the most influential people on the planet hang out, right? Where presidential politics happens, where human rights lawyers are commenting or communicating, where journalists are and stuff like that. So if that starts to change, regardless of the name change or whatever logo's on the site, that is what I'm keeping an eye on, because that's one of the most important parts of why we're talking about this place.
Right. And that's kind of like just summing it up. My first thought was when he rebranded, he's just completely abandoning all of the brand equity that comes with buying Twitter and the megalith that it is. And now it's X, it's something new. I feel like the experience, and I use Twitter a lot for work, I feel like the experience has declined drastically in the past few months.
Well, the question that a lot of people have been asking, who are admittedly on the more critical end, right? They say, well, if he spent the $44 billion to buy Twitter, what was he buying, right? Well, it wasn't the staff because he fired most of them. And it apparently wasn't the brand because now he's throwing that in the trash. So what was it that he was buying? And I know on some level, we all kind of know there's a wink and a nod in that, because he initially didn't even want to buy it, right? And he ended up being forced to because he did a silly thing on the internet. And I think that's part of the interesting aspect of this all as well, is he doesn't really want to be the guy in charge, and he's flailing around, and there's a whole bunch of people who support him, and there's a whole bunch of people who are like, what are you doing? And it just continues to go down this very weird spiral.
There's a thing in baseball called a waiver. And what happens sometimes is you put a claim on a player that the team says, hey, this player is on waivers. You can have him if you want him. And you can go and take that player, and the other team can decide, all right, well, we're going to give him to you, or we're going to pull him back off waivers, and then we have to keep him. And that has happened a number of times in baseball where a team will put in a claim. They don't really want the guy. They just want to keep the guy from somebody else. And then it turns out that team says, well, hey, now you're stuck with him. You get to keep him. It feels like that's what happened here. Like he was,
except
he wanted to make a big show about how I'm going to change Twitter. And then, I'm stuck with it now.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think that's a great analogy, right? The only difference being that in this case, $44 billion was on the line, and also one of the most influential places on the internet. And you can't just, have a guy be bench warmer and lose the money over that. And I think that's the real fascinating aspect of this. And, part of this is that $44 billion, while we keep talking about it, it was all monopoly money to him anyway, right? At the time, he was the richest man in the world. He had tons of money. He said that Tesla stock was overvalued. So to him, it wasn't really much of a loss, but it's still a shocking thing to have happen.
Last thing for you before we say goodbye. What's the AI thing we need to be worried about this week?
Look, I keep first off, I am not entirely afraid of AI. I actually use ChatGPT regularly as a tool, not in my writing, for the record. But also, I think that the thing that we want to keep our eyes on is what is being done to have a conversation about how we're going to use AI in our daily lives. The writer's strike is a really fascinating conversation about how AI is being used before it becomes pervasive. And I think that's what makes the Hollywood strikes going on really fascinating right now.
Tech expert Ian Scher, we appreciate your time. Thank you again, our friend.
Thanks for having me.
That's Ian Scher with us on KMOX. And
How-
by the way, you can follow Ian on X at Ian Scher, SHERR.
They should do the
X/Twitter.
They should do the maiden name thing where it says X and then in parentheses me Twitter.
Yes, that won't be confusing at all.
No.
The thing about Microsoft holding the trademark for X for video game related services and Meta holding X as the trademark for online social networking services is hysterical.
Yeah.
It just means the dude didn't think this through.
What?
He didn't think it through.
What?
By the
You're
way,
saying Elon Musk is impulsive? No.
yes.
No.
And still the Twitter official account on Twitter is at Twitter. It's not at X because somebody owns that. Nothing like genius thought it real through, didn't he?
The least surprising thing is an impulsive action, a hugely consequential action taken by Elon Musk, and then finding out that there's some negative fallout from it.
You mean like walking into the doors and firing 80% of the staff right off the top?
Well, there's that.
Idiot. All right. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. Not all law firms are created equal. Don't risk your future with just any firm. See how Onder Law is different.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Now, Y98 presents 90 and 60. A look back at St. Louis City's match in Leagues Cup play against Columbus. Presented by Ponce Health Sciences University, creating new pathways and careers in healthcare.
They bring it down the right side. Forcia on the receiving end of a pass on the ground. Leaves it for a friend toward the end line. Another cross and a shot. Hernandez fires and he gets it. Columbus now leads 2-0 at Lower.com Field. Vassilev angles top of the 6 and it ends up deflected in. Joe Akini got to it and somehow it caroms home. City on the board, 6 minutes to play. And the whistle does blow. Columbus wins it tonight. The City falls by a final score of 2-1 to open up the League's Cup.
This has been 90 and 60, presented by Ponce Health Sciences University. Up next, it's round 2 of Leagues Cup tournament play as St. Louis City faces Club America Thursday night. Together Credit Union pregame at 8:30. Kick at 9 on Y98 St. Louis.
Aspiring to be a doctor? Didn't score well in the MCAT? Gain all the confidence you need to succeed at Ponce Health Sciences University. PHSU west of City Park on the corner of Jefferson and Market prepares students for every aspect of a medical career. A Master of Sciences in Medical Science degree. An MSMS from Ponce prepares students for the coursework, the time commitment, and the rigor for a future in healthcare. Learn more at stlouis.psm.edu. That's stlouis.psm.edu.
This is a test of the emergency alert system.
An important message from SNL Coins. SNL Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to SNL at 544-3600. SNL Coins, 544-3600. Or visit SNL Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call SNL 544-3600.
Benjamin Franklin said, failing to plan is the same as planning to fail. And that's especially true when it comes to planning for your retirement. Steve All of the All Financial Group can help you create a customized retirement master plan.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. You got a lot of people calling with a lot of different questions. Questions around their 401ks. What do they do? Rollovers. Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Call 636-230-8824 and schedule a complimentary portfolio review, or visit online at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services are offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. BWA and All Financial Group, LLC are independent of each other. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 803-9738.
KMOX, the 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year, recognized by the Missouri Broadcasters Association. KMOX, we were built for this.
This message is for Amy. Happy birthday. And 40 is the beginning of the rest of your life. Everything after 40 is so much better than before. So enjoy. Happy birthday, Amy. Bye.
That was so kind.
He's also full of crap because
Thank
I'm
you.
after 40. Everything sucks.
Well, but you kind of sucked before 40. You know what I mean?
I was,
So it's-
dude, I was so much fun before 40.
I
I'm still
don't
fun
think
now.
so.
I'm so
Thank you
much fun.
to that caller. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I agree. I think life is only going to get better.
You say that because you have to convince yourself it's true. Otherwise, you'll go mad.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy.
Remember when I said earlier that 40 is the new 20 and you go,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
I
people
will
say.
say, okay, do you remember, I think it was the Total Gym. Was it the Total Gym? Not the Total Gym.
The thing that you get at home?
Where the guy goes, I'm 40 and I'm in the best shape of my life. Do you remember those commercials?
No, I just remember
They were
the guy goes,
infomercials.
I'm a man. I'm 40. That guy.
No. Well, there in the 90s, early 2000s, I think 90s, there was this guy and he would say, I'm 40 and I'm in the best shape of my life. And as a kid, even, I remember thinking, that's nonsense. That's not true. You're ancient. You know, the like we said, the black balloons, the tombstones, RIP over the hill. Guess what? I'm 40. Well, tomorrow, I really am in the best shape of my life. I am fitter and a much faster, stronger runner than I was in my 20s. Ladies and gentlemen, you can be great 40 and later.
I mean, you can.
You can. I know. I'm like way faster. I am so much faster as a runner. My mile, 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, nobody cares. But guess what? All at my absolute fastest. And I know I'm not 40 yet, but I broke all those records in the past few months. And then I'm training again and am already ahead of where I was. So 40 is the new 28.
By the way, have you seen Tom Cruise, who is 61 years old now?
Okay.
And who has looked 35 for, 20 years? Like, this guy he's looked so young that there's been this epiphany by people because they see his face that he has just gotten very old quickly. That he went from looking 40 to suddenly he looks 60.
But didn't he get a lot of work done?
I don't know.
I think he did.
I don't know. He's
Sometimes
gotten
the
old
work
fast, though.
can make you look older
He
because
still
you look
looks-
like an old person trying to look young.
He still, yeah, that's what the hair is. He still looks,
I've got a lot of wrinkles.
good for 60.
But I've always had wrinkles.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm proud of them.
Yeah, so I mean, tell yourself what you have to.
Hey, I could beat you in a race.
Well, so you do it for fun. That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. We'll give you the birds next.
Weeknights at 6. It's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line.
Do welcome you in right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley.
Matt Pauley has everything sports, from what's happening with your Cardinals,
A lot of Cardinals baseball stuff, a lot to get into,
to the sports news of the day,
Let's talk a little St. Louis Blues hockey,
interviews and special
the
guests.
head coach of the St. Louis University women's basketball team.
It's all waiting for you with Matt Pauley.
It's all coming up.
The Gray Bar Sports Open Line, weeknights at 6 on KMOX.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
When you hear Diamonds Direct, it's not just a catchy name designed to give the illusion of value. Our name is who we really are. Diamonds Direct was started by diamond cutters a quarter of a century ago. At our very core is a commitment to cut out the middleman and deliver extreme value in exquisite diamonds. Today, that's more true than ever, with our direct access to diamonds straight from the mines. Diamonds that we then cut and polish. Exquisite diamonds up to 15 and 20 carats in all shapes and sizes. It's an advantage other jewelers only dream of. By overseeing the entire process, we know for a fact Diamonds Direct is truly direct. So this year, as value becomes more important than ever, rest assured that Diamonds Direct's unique status in the world diamond market guarantees you the best no middleman direct importer price, period. And even with this extreme value promise, at Diamonds Direct, you still get an unbeatable selection, transparent education, a luxurious shopping experience, superior customer service, no compromises. It's not having a cool name or clever advertising, it's the truth. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
At 11:30, some sun. It's 89 degrees downtown at the Arch.
This just in.
Teamsters say a tentative deal has been reached with UPS, averting logistics chaos and a potential walkout by 340,000 unionized workers. Again, the Teamsters say they have reached a tentative deal with UPS. Bronny James, the son of NBA superstar LeBron James, was hospitalized after going into cardiac arrest while participating in a practice at the University of Southern California. National gas price jumps always trickled down to Missouri. Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy says fill up now. Local gas stations could jump 40 to 60 cents.
Some stations you're going to see quite a doozy here over the next week. The average in St. Louis is already up a couple of cents from a week ago. It's at $3.45.
And right now, in terms of the forecast, we've got a high of 95 to 100 degrees today. For tonight, clear sky, potentially a thunderstorm with a low 78. And for tomorrow, clouds and sunshine with a thunderstorm in parts of the area and a high of 96. At the moment, it's 89 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Siding Express can totally transform the look of your home by installing Hardy Shake, board and batten, or a stone accent to make it your dream home. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor. Go to sidingexpress.com to schedule a free no-obligation consultation today.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Glickert with the St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and I know the secret. My unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd love to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no HCG, no surgery, and no hypnosis,
call my office now at 314-207-8600.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I really needed some help getting rid of those pandemic pounds, and St. Louis Weight Loss Secret has made it easy for me. I started losing weight right away and have lost 20 pounds in just 1 month eating real food, healthy food. I feel great. I'm going to keep going. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month, a half pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 314-207-8600, 314-207-8600, or online at moweightloss.com.
Find out what's happening with your Redbirds. from the manager himself, Oliver Marmol. Sunday mornings at 10:15 on Sports on a Sunday morning. And Wednesday mornings at 9:50. The Ollie Marmol Show on Cardinals Radio, KMOX.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar.
I'm Woodson Contreras. I'm Paul DeYoung.
Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Jordan Hicks, and you're listening to KMOX.
Now the pitch. O'Neill rips it to left field. That ball's trying to get down and go to the wall. One run is in. Here comes another. Here comes a third run with Nootbaar scoring. A 3-run double for Tyler O'Neill. And the Cardinals are rolling in the 9th inning, 10-6.
Today's Cardinals Report brought to you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated. RennerDoorSTL.com. Cardinals get a win last night, a good outing from Adam Wainwright, who made his return from injury. And we are joined this morning by Lynn Worthy, Cardinals beat writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, covers the team with us now on KMOX. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so they won last night. No trades coming now, right?
Yeah, well, this past weekend in Chicago sort of took the air out of that balloon where they had gone on that win streak right after John Mozeliak basically said that they would be sellers at the deadline, and then they responded by going on the win streak, and it looked like, well, maybe they're going to alter the front office's decisions and they're going to change the course of everything. And then that, like I said, things sort of came back down to earth after they dropped 3 out of 4 in Chicago. So there's a week left before the deadline, and most likely we'll probably be seeing some people move. It's just a matter of what that looks like and who all is still here come a week from, well, a little more than a week from today.
Yeah, that is the question. What does it look like? And I think at this point, it's really just a big guess, right? I mean, we can make educated guesses as to who we think will not be here a week from today. But, I mean, do you feel like you have a general idea what this might look like?
Well, the obvious choices as far as guys that you would say would be tricks, would be guys who, you're not sure they're going to be here past this year. So on the pitching side, that's Jordan Montgomery, that's Jack Flaherty, that's Jordan Hicks, that's Chris Stratton. For position players, it's somebody like Paul DeYoung. These are all guys who could potentially be free agents next year, and you would say you could trade them. The people who are picking them up don't have a long-term commitment to them, and also you can get something for them where potentially they leave in the offseason and you don't get anything except for maybe potentially a compensation pick. So those are the guys that you would say would be candidates. The other side of that, though, is that the Cardinals need to pick up pitching that's going to be able to help them immediately, like as in next year. John Mozeliak even alluded to that when he spoke to reporters last week during the homestand at Busch Stadium, talking about that they wanted to look for guys who could help them for 2024. Ideally, 2025 would be, still something they'd consider. 2026 seems like a long way off, was sort of how he put it. So you sort of know who it's the ideal candidates for them to deal, but to get what they need, you may have to add other pieces to that.
I think the conventional wisdom has been there's just no chance whatsoever that they will trade the full no trade clause guys like Arenado and Goldschmidt. But then we hear, I believe it was Bob Nightingale reported that Wilson Contreras is on the table in terms of a deal. He's got a full no trade clause. What is the likelihood that one of those, if not more of them, end up somewhere else?
I don't think there's a high likelihood at all that Arenado or Goldschmidt goes anywhere. Contreras, I don't think is really all that likely either, but I think they definitely listen. I mean, I think they'll listen on everybody, but I think Contreras, Mozeliak was lukewarm at best last week. I think it was when my colleague Ben Fredrickson asked about the catching situation, and Mozeliak basically said that was going to have to be tabled and addressed in the offseason, and talked about the encouraging signs they saw from Ivan Herrera, just sort of glancing right past Wilson Contreras. So I think that's something they'd be open to. I just don't know that it's likely to happen in this next week, considering, whether it's a guy like Wilson Contreras or even a guy like Tyler O'Neill, they're guys who you potentially could see why the Cardinals might move off of them, but they're almost in a situation where, you want to build them up, sort of increase their value, show that they can be productive over an extended period of time before you trade them, as opposed to potentially trading low on them at this point in time. And Contreras just signed the 5-year, $87.5 million contract. So there's a lot of money left, a lot of years left for a guy that, the Cardinals have basically sort of taken knocks at his catching ability indirectly. So to trade him right now, you're not really giving yourself a great chance to get something of value back.
Do you think they've unfairly evaluated him, or has it been fair? There are a lot of people who have criticized the way they handled it earlier in the season by taking him away from the position and thought it was unjust. Is that, do those people have a fair argument here, or did they handle the whole thing appropriately?
Well, I think the timing of it was the biggest thing where you'd say, well, did they give it a fair shot? I mean, because in spring training, there was very much, even go back to the offseason, they talked about this being the guy that they targeted to replace Yadier Molina, to give them more of an offensive impact from that catcher position. Talked up, the sort of, him being that guy going forward for them at that position and so be solidifying that spot. And then in spring training, they talked about the different things they were doing to try and improve on the defensive side with him. They thought they could make him a lot better defensively with their staff and making some changes. And then he was 33 games into the season that they, basically, take him, pull the carpet out from underneath him. So from that aspect, yeah, I think it's unfair to have such of a build up and to say what you felt like this guy could do for you, and then 33 games in to all of a sudden start, saying, well, it's not going to work out, or we got to take a step back. And they did it right on the verge of them making a trip to Chicago, where he had, played as a catcher, and where there had been some talk that, that there were some questions about his catching ability there on the way out the door. So it just was a bad timing altogether. So yeah, I think there's a case to be made that things were done unfairly there. But at the same time, I think, I was going to say that there's probably, you could say that, he's not as polished a defensive catcher as there are some other guys they maybe should have gone at or could have gone after. But at the same time, they knew that. They knew that when they got him. That's not a secret. It's not something that they were surprised by. It's something that they had planned on addressing with the changes they were making. So, yeah, I think it's if you're from Wilson Contreras' perspective, it probably seems like there was a lot of things that could have been handled differently that sort of reflect badly on him, caused by the organization.
Lynn, zooming out and looking at the league overall, Jeff Passan for ESPN wrote that while there will be good players traded, he sees this year the quality of players traded expected to be moved to be the lowest in recent memory. And really any blockbuster would hinge on what the Los Angeles Angels decide to do. Do you agree with that take? And what are some of the biggest trades that you think might happen?
I think there's probably some good reasons to view it that way, especially because, with the new playoff format, so many teams are still in it or are still within striking distance. So if you're a team that's, within a few games of a wild card spot or a division where, the records aren't really great. I mean, you think about the AL Central, NL Central, where the team's records, even within the division, will probably not be any great shakes. You're still in the hunt. So you're not going to probably give a whole lot of thought to trading off some of your core pieces or some of the most, valued commodities there. So I think that probably plays into it. And of the teams that aren't within striking distance, you talk about a team like the Cardinals might have some of the bigger pieces potentially to move. The teams that aren't within striking distance probably don't have a whole lot to offer. I mean, you look at young teams like the Kansas City Royals, most of that young core, they're not going to deal off. They probably deal off, one of a handful of guys that might be expiring contracts or might have a whole lot of money left. The Oakland A's are one of those teams that's on the bottom that's not in contention. There's not a whole lot of pieces off of that group. You'd probably say that a contender thinks is going to change their outlook. So I think that plays into probably not seeing a whole lot of blockbuster type deals, because there's the teams that are probably in the predicament where they're definitely going to sell might not have that many pieces to really make a difference for a contending team. And then you've got all these other teams that are still in the hunt. We think about how the Cardinals, like if they had just maybe shaved a couple more games off of how far back they are in the standings, then maybe they'd still be one of those teams that wouldn't be selling too. So a lot of teams in that spot makes it a tough market to think that you're going to get a real superstar impactful trade done. But you never know. As you get close to a deadline, some things may change.
Certainly did not expect that 1 week before the trade deadline, the Cardinals would find themselves 11 games out of first place in their division. Just I knew they had, and we talked about it during the offseason before it even started, that they had some deficiencies I was concerned about, but still thought they were better than everybody else in the division. Just it's remarkable that they are in this position right now.
Yeah, and it goes back to this winter, and even in the spring, they talked about betting on a lot of the pitchers that they had having bounce back years, having healthy seasons, having better performances than what they had necessarily had maybe last year. But you just didn't get that, at least not consistently. You had injuries with Waino. You had, Miles Michaels off to a slow start. You had Steven Matz struggling to the point that he had to go to the bullpen. So you just didn't. They used that term betting on some of these guys that they were bringing back, and at this point, that bet was a losing bet. They didn't have enough depth behind that. And I think John Mozeliak has acknowledged that was one of their probably key shortfalls, was not being able to provide enough pitching depth. And then when they placed that bet, again, that bet didn't come through. So I think if they had consistent pitching all season long, they would. There's no way they would be, as far back as they are. They'd still probably be in contention. They could be in a position where they were maybe, in the driver's seat in the Central, but none of that happened. And it was primarily because of the pitching. And that's why when, Mozeliak sits there and talks to the media, he talks about what they're aiming for with the trade deadline is going to be pitching. It's because that's what basically tanked the season for them.
Lynn Worthy, we appreciate it. Appreciate the coverage. Thank you for visiting with us this morning here on KMOX.
My pleasure. You guys take care.
Lynn Worthy of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch covers the Cardinals, Amy and I, and more. We're going to have a lot of people involved a week from today when it is the trade deadline. We're going to be covering it. We'll be on top of it. So if anything does happen on that day, you're going to want to keep it with KMOX because we'll have you covered, baby. Trade deadline next Tuesday. So the Cardinals, I figure, will be active. The question is just how active. Will it happen before next Tuesday? Will there be moves that do happen on that day? Doesn't matter. We're going to have you covered.
This is where you want to keep it tuned to KMOX, baby.
That is right.
I'm showing up that day to work to find out what happens. I want to be the first to know. Because, your baseball prowess, KMOX being the flagship of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Ackerman's going to be involved all day. Wheeler,
gosh.
we're going to have other
Paulie.
people around the country. Yeah, Paulie.
I think,
it's a lot.
Are we, or I know Ackerman, they're going to be at the stadium. They're going to be at Ground Zero.
Oh, I think so. We might
be.
The
War Room.
Are we going to be in the War Room?
Yeah.
We're not going to be in the War Room.
You and I won't be in the War Room.
No. I don't think they get to be in the War Room, but they'll be War Room adjacent.
We will be closer than anyone else. People don't even understand.
Yeah, man.
KMOX and the Cardinals, 2 peas in a pod. No one else is in that pod with us.
Yeah, no, we don't have room for other people in that pod.
No more peas, just KMOX and the Cardinals.
That's right.
No one is more plugged in than Tom Ackerman. Man, that guy has been here, KMOX, following Cardinals baseball for over half his life.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
Right now. Yeah. He's probably on the phone with Bill DeWitt III. We just talked to him.
We did.
Hey, you know what? I should have asked Bill DeWitt III if he likes that we call our Cardinals segment Giving You the Birds.
Well, I'm kind of glad you didn't.
I think I'm going to. Next time we have him on, I'll see how he feels about it.
No, I will say this. Bill DeWitt III and I, we bond over hockey. He plays hockey. He's a big hockey fan.
Yeah.
He plays hockey. I play hockey. I think we've skated on the same sheet of ice before, but I think I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like years ago when I was like first playing in the morning men's leagues. Nobody cares.
That is a very cool story.
I did get a hurt ankle from
let me
Blues
ask
owner
you-
Tom Stillman. He took a slap shot,
That's
hit me
amazing.
right in the skate, and when I took my skate off, my ankle exploded.
When cool story bro was a thing, remember when people used to say
Oh.
cool story bro?
Yeah, first of all, I never said that. That
Did
was
you?
dumb
But-
even when it was a thing.
But did you get that a lot directed at you?
Mm-mm.
That's
Because
stunning.
cool story, bro. People, here's what they're not ready for me. they, they can't
No, they're
handle
not.
this. Yeah.
They can't. It's a
So,
lot. All right.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean,
Can we talk about fubbing when we come back?
and double fubbing.
Let's talk about the double fub.
It's a real thing, guys. We're not joking. I'm also not joking about St. Charles Nissan. You need to head over there, especially with the last few days of July, because they have an amazing celebration of savings. That is only for a few more days, the month of July. It's already July 25th. You can get up to $3,000 off select models. Plus, the brand new 2023 Nissan Sentras have arrived. They're going fast, so you want to hurry in for the best selection. And people know, right, that new car inventory is tight. And at St. Charles Nissan, they want to deal in volume so that you have the best selection and that you can, when you go to St. Charles Nissan, you can drive away with your brand new car because they've got the car that you want in stock. Also, I mentioned the new 2023 Nissan Sentras. They also just got a whole new batch of Nissan Altimas and Nissan Rogues. So you want to get into St. Charles Nissan today. They're part of the St. Charles Automotive Group, conveniently located a quarter mile east of Mid Rivers Mall Drive, just off Highway 70. They are part of the St. Charles Automotive Group, so that has St. Charles Nissan, St. Charles Hyundai, Genesis of St. Charles, plus the largest pre-owned inventory in the St. Louis metro area. At any time, they're going to have 250, 300 pre-owned cars for you to test drive and buy. So it's one-stop shopping. It can't get any easier. Visit them today or go to stcharlesnissan.com.
KMOX welcomes you and your friends to Ballpark Village for the 2023 Women's World Cup and dedicated watch parties for U.S. matches on July 21st and 26th. Parties include pre- and post-match entertainment, games, live music, drink specials, and more. Pre-game parties start at 5 and matches start at 8 p.m. The 2023 Women's World Cup watch parties. Reserve your watch party table today at stballparkvillage.com.
Celebrate the month of the 4th with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and get a 4th room for free. Also, 20% off whole home air duct cleaning. Call right now. Ask for the DGS deal. 314-474-2020. ZeroResSTL.com.
According to the U.S. debt clock, in the time you hear this commercial, our nation's debt will go up by $1.5 million. That's more than $2 billion a day. Right now, our debt is over $31 trillion and climbing fast. The question is, how do we pay it off? The answer is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? Whether you should pay taxes now or in retirement depends on a lot of things. Heisey Advisory Group knows what to look for and can help you create a customized plan so your retirement is as tax efficient as possible. Schedule your visit with Heisey Advisory Group now. 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisors. Security products and services made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. AEFS and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC are not affiliated. Always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed early bird specials at $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right. Seminar Saturday, August 5th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis. Or Sunday, August 6th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Chris Ranji
Wonderful bones. Great eyes, and you dress really interesting.
on KMOX.
Amy, have you been fubbing me? I feel like you've been fubbing me lately.
No, I haven't been fubbing you. One, because we're not married. And
You don't have to be married.
two, if anything, I'm the one that calls and texts you too much.
Fubbing applies to a friend or significant other.
Oh, well, in this, I'm looking at this psychology study, and a study found that fubbing is damaging marriages.
Well,
What is
explain
fubbing?
what it is, yeah.
Fubbing is phone snubbing.
Okay.
It's when you ignore the other partner or the person, right? You ignore your partner because you are on your phone and you either don't want to talk to them or you're purposefully not listening. So it's phone snubbing. It's called fubbing. And people who regularly engage in phone snubbing have lower marriage satisfaction rates than couples who do not. This does not seem surprising. Now, these psychologists said, here's the thing. The advent of the smartphone has resulted in, quote, the development of behavior never before seen in the human race, which is people becoming glued to an external device in a way that surpasses even television, right? So sociologists have noted that there are real changes in the way we interact with each other and the way we feel connected or less connected to people around us, and how we feel connected or less connected to people online. But anyway, there is fubbing, which is phone snubbing.
So this
in
means basically I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm sitting next to you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to talk to you, but your face is buried in your phone.
Yeah, it's where people cut off conversations with others in their vicinity
Okay.
by talking or texting on the phone. Now, if two people are doing it to each other, it's called double fubbing. This
love
is
it.
the psychologist saying this.
I love the double fub.
Yeah, well, they were looking at the impact that fubbing might have on marriages, and they sent out surveys and they talked to people and married couples. They said if there is a problem of fubbing, you can easily fix it by turning off your phone.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's the fix to this? Double fubbing is
Yeah.
a problem.
I will say,
but-
okay, let's say you're out with a lady.
Yeah.
A lovely lady, just you and her. And you go to a restaurant. Do
Mhm.
you set your phone face up on the table, face down on the table, or keep it in like your pocket?
It depends
On how much you like her?
I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Out of habit, I usually put it on the table
Face
anyway.
up or face down?
I don't do the face down thing normally.
Oh my gosh. That's a sign. See, if you have your phone out, at the very least,
No, because-
face down.
Well, or I could say, "Why is your phone face down? Are you trying to hide something from me?"
No, I would say thank you for
What are
being
you going?
present.
What are you doing there?
No, because if it's face up, it means you're like constantly looking over. But if it's face down, you're saying, listen, I have my phone here for emergencies or because I don't want to sit on it.
So, I mean, it's a
Man, maybe I think we figured out your problem.
It's a problem.
Maybe we figured out why.
I don't know if that's it.
Hmm.
So, two people
Mhm.
fubbing. It's called double fubble. You know what they say about double fubbles? Big trouble.
No, there's no L. It's fubbing.
I'm calling it fubble. I'm calling it double fubble. Don't
Well-
double fubble unless you want double trouble.
Have you ever been
What?
to a family event where there's a basket at the front door and like the
Absolutely
grandma
not.
or
You know
the
what? You know what would
great aunt?
happen? Do you know what would happen
You
if
would
I
leave the event.
I would turn right back around and say, "See ya."
You have no siblings.
So
It's you and your mom.
yeah, but
It's you and Pam.
if I walked in and there was a basket, please put your phone here. I'd be like, please
What
send
if
me
Pam
a plate.
asked you? It's your
She
mother.
wouldn't.
Pam, you can always ask him to put his
She
phone
would not
down.
do it. You know why? She knows if she knows what's good for her.
Oh my god! my gosh!
Hey,
Who says
you missed a
that?
lot on this show, baby.
Wow.
We'll tell you what next on KMOX.
After years of hearing the commercials on KMOX, I decided to finally make an appointment with Ophthalmology Associates. You know the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Busati, and Dr. Andy Royer. Well, I'd been hearing about dry eye, and I knew that I had dry eyes. Dr. Ranjan Malhotra told me that it's not just an irritating problem, it's actually irritating my eyes, and that it's so important to have dry eye addressed because it can actually scratch your cornea, cause greater damage, lead you to believe that your vision is getting worse. Turns out I don't need new glasses. I just need to address the dry eye situation. You should definitely check out Ophthalmology Associates. They are experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or online at youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, just a half mile west of 270 eastbound on Manchester. Ophthalmology Associates, youridoc.com.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. Call now, 314-720-8081.
Tom Ackerman for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/communitybanking. Our goal to bring awareness to local organizations and share how they're bettering our community. iThrive, spelled E-Y-E, Thrive, gives low-income children the ability to thrive through access to vision services. When a child suddenly sees, we call it Christmas morning, says Director Kate McKearns. Listen to Building Community with Busey Bank at KMOX.com/communitybanking.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, Carol Daniel here for PNC C-Speak, the language of executives. Minjung Kim, Barbara B. Taylor, director of the St. Louis Art Museum, joined me and Michael Scully, regional president of PNC, to talk about diversity, inclusion, and what it takes to operate a world-class free cultural institution. C-Speak shares the stories and pioneering approaches of successful business leaders, so you hear ideas that spark growth in your business. Listen today at KMOX.com/PNC C-Speak. PNC C-Speak, the language of executives.
Manchester Coin and Jewelry is the estate buyers. They buy collectibles from vintage toy trains, musical instruments, military, and more. Located on Manchester Road, west of 141. It's Manchester Coin and Jewelry.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. Not all law firms are created equal. Don't risk your future with just any firm. See how Onder Law is different.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, we've got some sun. It's 90 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour.
CBS News special report. There's labor peace after weeks of discontent at UPS.
What do we want? Contract! When do we want it? Now!
And just hours after talks resumed in a major dispute. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
UPS says it's reached a contract agreement with its 340,000-person union, and the union calls the deal historic and overwhelmingly lucrative. The terms include safety issues and equipping more trucks with air conditioning and other equipment, higher wages, and benefits. A UPS official calls it a win-win-win agreement.
The tentative deal averts a strike that could have taken place early next week. Members of the Teamsters were upset by a contract they say was forced on them 5 years ago by union leaders, and they clashed with UPS over pay as profits for the company soared in recent years. Voting on the new tentative agreements will take place next month. CBS News special report. I'm Steve Kathan.
The president of the St. Louis Cardinals is continuing his effort to finally get sports betting legalized in Missouri. Bill DeWitt III says Missourians are already wagering illegally.
You know, kind of like in a way the marijuana argument, it's happening. Why criminalize it, and why not just get the tax revenue and actually regulate it effectively? So it's kind of one of those arguments too with sports betting. If you don't happen to like it, if you like it, then you obviously want it for that reason too.
DeWitt says if wagering is approved in Missouri, plans for a sports book at Ballpark Village are being discussed. One of St. Louis City's first streets to get a pedestrian-friendly redo is the massive Jefferson Avenue from Market to Natural Bridge. Scott Ogilvie is in charge of complete streets in the city.
That's an area where we have not a great safety record in the past and kind of poor conditions throughout that corridor.
And we're rebuilding the entire right-of-way. So everything in that corridor will be new.
The construction plans to cut down on a lane on Jefferson and add a median north of Cass. Mayor Tashara Jones this year signed a Safer Streets bill with $40 million in funding. Find an alternate route from 44 to 270 this weekend. MoDOT says it'll close the exit ramp on Friday at 8 p.m. to do some preventative maintenance work on the overpass from westbound 44 to southbound 270. You can still get to northbound 270. It's expected to reopen by Monday at 5 a.m. And right now, let's take a look at the roads right now. We got a 2-vehicle crash on 270 south at 6440. The right lane is closed. Some slow-moving road work on 44 going west at southwest. The right lane is closed. Stall 6440 west at Mason. The right lane is closed.
Hot and humid, mainly sunny, up to 96 to 100 on the thermometer this afternoon. Real feels around 105. Those similar temperatures tomorrow, even with a thunderstorm early. And then about 100 to 105 on the thermometer Thursday and Friday. Real feels about 110. We're looking at a little bit of a cut down in the temperatures over the weekend. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got 91 in Florissant and St. Peter's and 90 downtown at the Arch, where it currently feels like 97. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show.
Sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info at cardinals.com. Time to rewind. It's the Chris and Amy Rewind Recap.
You know, the reason we do this every day is because we want you to go and get the Odyssey app or listen on KMOX.com for anything that you might have missed throughout the show today. And let me tell you, there has been plenty. We did speak to Dean DeVore about the hot weather. It's going to be bad for the week. Looking at temperatures upwards of 100 Thursday, Friday, maybe even as well. And it might be this way for the summer, like not every single day, but we're going to be dealing with heat. Maybe more so than usual, which sucks because I hate the heat.
Well, and
it's not my
also,
favorite.
I think Dean DeVore made a great point. When I mentioned that driving to work every morning, I feel like more often than not, the arch is
the
hard to see.
wildfires.
So he said it actually makes it feel like it should be hotter because it looks like a haze of 105 degrees when really say it's 93, 96, which is. But it does aesthetically, it feels like it's a million degrees.
Yes, it really does.
When you can't see the arch. I took a picture the other day on Market. This was. Gosh, it was east of Union Station. I can't think of the street. It's east of Clark. Anyway, I was on Market. The arch was completely invisible.
Yeah.
It looked like the skyline without the arch. Yeah.
We also spoke to President of the St. Louis Cardinals, Bill DeWitt III. He had done an interview with Legal Sports Report talking about sports betting, how it failed in the Missouri Senate, despite the fact it passed the House. And he made this comment in regard to Denny Hoskins, who almost single-handedly held up the entire thing and made sure there was not legal sports betting in Missouri. Bill Eigel helped him out with the filibuster. But here's what DeWitt said to Legal Sports Report. We don't think Denny is serious. The definition of insanity, this situation is in the dictionary. The door for negotiation is always open, but when you insist on doing the business of Illinois gray machine companies, it makes it tough. Obviously, he has been our issue. We spoke to Bill DeWitt III today.
From best that we can tell, the Illinois slot machine industry has been very active politically with a lot of donations to the House and Senate members in Missouri. And the reason is because it was legalized or slot machines were expanded in Illinois, and that helped the Illinois slot machine industry. And so that's what they're trying to achieve in Missouri. So they're, making huge donations. And their only chance of success is if they hitch a ride on the winning issue of sports betting. Mm-hmm. And so what's happened is Senator Hoskins and maybe a few others, but mostly him, have said, well, okay, I'm fine with sports betting, but you have to expand slot machines in addition to creating the sports betting industry. Because I guess they want them all over the state, in truck stops and gas stations and bars and restaurants. And that's neither here nor there from our point of view. But the casino industry hates that because they saw what happened in Illinois. Slots were expanded, and it crushed their slot industry with their casinos. So they're against that. And so for everybody to get on the same page, we just need a clean bill. And to get this passed, we need a clean bill that's specifically oriented towards sports betting and not attaching these VLTs or slot machines to the bill, because that will bring it down. That's not a winning issue. And that's why they keep trying to attach to our issue, because they know if they stood on their own, they would lose. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, and that is exactly what I speculated when we talked about this when the legislature was in session, that this can't really be about it not being good for the state of Missouri, or nobody in the state wants this to happen, or it's unpopular. It's not about that. It's about individuals, I believe, in the state legislature that are getting money, that are just, they're simply being influenced by private companies. One, by the way, that's not even in the state of Missouri. So it has to be that. Prove me wrong. I mean, they are more than welcome to prove me wrong that that's not the case. But all indications point to, well, they're just getting money from these other companies, and therefore they are going to hold it up.
Yeah,
until they get what they want.
Is really centered on Senator Denny Hoskins too. I mean, he said he's an obstructionist until he gets his way. He's already conducted 2 filibusters to the last 2 sessions, and this entire issue of sports betting is hinging on Senator Denny Hoskins, and he wants to bundle the sports betting in Missouri with these video lottery terminals, the VLTs.
And the already established casinos in our state don't want that.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. What's interesting, and Bill DeWitt III said this, is, okay, if you have to wait for Denny Hoskins to either not be in office anymore, you could still pursue legislation that way, or you could have a ballot initiative in 2024 in which the people of Missouri vote to change the Constitution so to allow sports betting. And that would be an amendment issue versus legislative.
Also, we spoke to Ian Scher, who is a tech expert contributing to CBS, about what is a really interesting story that I never even considered. But if you have a smart home security, you move, somebody else buys your place, and you do not deactivate your account, but that stuff is still installed, it makes a security issue for the new home owners.
Because a friend of mine was a new homeowner, and you buy a new smart home, and it's not as simple as unplugging the cameras, which they've had to do.
Right.
Because when you have an Amazon security account, you have apps so that the garage door is still being controlled by the old homeowner's phone.
The lights.
The lights.
Yep.
And Amazon, as a new person, you can't go in and unilaterally deactivate someone else's security account for obvious reasons. It has to be the old homeowner.
Honestly, one of the things that the companies are really behind on is dealing with these types of problems, right? They're pretty used to, when you have an account, you're missing a password, helping you out with that stuff. But when it comes to stuff like changing hands of ownership, and in particular, in a situation like this, where depending on the state, there's actually laws around what needs to be kept with the house and what doesn't, and maybe they're okay with that or maybe they're not. It can get really messy.
Certainly it's something they're going to have to figure out, because this seems like a problem that's very easily fixable.
And what we were talking about too is not necessarily malicious intent. It's just more negligence, or the fact that a lot of people are moving in emotional or contentious situations. They're dealing with lawyers, they may be dealing with divorce or loss, whatever it may be. And so deactivating your Amazon security account is the last thing on the list. That becomes a huge issue for the new homeowner.
Yeah, can't imagine that. They're probably looking at you while you're sleeping.
Isn't that creepy? And so you go, and the thing is, why can't you just unplug the cameras? Well, you can, but some of the security devices, like some of the cameras,
Are
some
built
of
in,
they're
wired in, yeah.
hardwired into the home. You have to knock down your drywall, figure out where the wire is, and cut into the drywall to clip a camera cord
Hey.
or security cord.
Some real wealthy creep out there could just buy a bunch of homes and
Don't even Come
install
on.
cameras and then stare at you while you're eating, sleeping.
Okay. Also on my Did You See This?
What? Yeah.
I'm working my way through the Ben Shapiro
Oh, yeah,
critique
you are.
of the
Of
Barbie,
Barbie.
movie. Yeah. And now I have to see it because now I have read so much pro Barbie, anti Barbie, whatever it may be, that I feel like in order for me to opine at all with any type of authority or credibility, I need to go see the Barbie movie. But yes, because Ranj and I were talking about all of the outrage over this movie, and maybe some of it is warranted. The good news is you can always just not see a movie, and it is the Barbie movie. It's not like they changed the words to the national anthem where you're like, wow, this represents us. It's the Barbie movie. I don't know. Maybe some people take Ryan Gosling seriously. I don't. Margot Robbie, she's great. She's very beautiful. Not really representing me or any of my ideologies or my views. So I would say don't see the Barbie movie. Ben Shapiro has a lot of emotional energy that he's directing towards this movie. And I say this because I like to read and listen to podcasts and newspapers, magazines across the political spectrum. The Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Atlantic, the National Review, the Dispatch. I'll listen to Ezra Klein and I'll listen to Vox and I'll listen to Ben Shapiro. I want to hear what people are saying. And this diatribe against the Barbie movie, I think it's 49 minutes long. I'm about halfway
Come on,
through.
it can't be that
I
long.
know, it is. It's a full
He
hour
goes
podcast.
in for 50 minutes.
Well, and guess what? There's a follow-up podcast.
Bro,
I know.
about the Barbie movie?
Yeah. So
Come on,
I'm
man.
working my way through it because I want to
Come
hear
on.
what he has to say.
You do?
Well, because
Just as it
because so much of
curiosity
the animosity, out
is
of
coming from
curiosity,
him.
right? Because I don't have the emotional bandwidth to care this much, but I want to hear what are his issues with it. And I will say this: he goes off. They bleep him out 10 times in the first 2
He's
minutes.
that upset about this movie?
I know. Listen.
come
I'm
on,
an
man.
equal. I listen to everyone from all over the political spectrum.
Aren't you just tired of the outrage, the
Oh man,
nonstop?
I had to take a break about
constant
20.
outrage.
I had to take a break
over
about
this-
20 minutes in.
over the silliest stuff. This is so silly.
It's the Barbie movie.
It's the freaking Barbie movie.
Yeah.
And by the way,
And it's Greta Gerwig. I don't know if people thought that this was going to be the American Doll, founding fathers, Martha Washington movie. If that's what you were expecting, I feel like, well, I'm sorry, that's not what you should expect.
well, guess what?
With Barbie and Greta Gerwig.
If his goal was to make people not go, didn't work, Ben, because it has one of the biggest openings in history.
What I will say
over the
is
weekend.
one of the things, because he plays audio from the movie. And I will say this, it's PG-13 and I get it. There are some pretty crude jokes that I would hope if you're 10 or 11 that you don't
That's
get.
not his objection, though, is it?
No, no. Well, that's part of it because
He's more upset about the patriarchy stuff.
well, not necessarily. I haven't gotten to that yet and I'm 20 minutes in.
Wild, because that's the thing he tweeted first.
Well, sure.
His very first criticism that I saw was via Twitter or X,
Sure.
whatever you want to call it, and it was, all you need to know about the Barbie movie is they use the word patriarchy 10 times
Well,
unironically.
That's a tweet, which is very different than a nearly hour-long podcast.
No,
where
but
you have
that's
you have
clearly
the
a
time.
starting point.
But you have the time to break it down. And he kind of goes in order. And I'm, like I said, I've been listening to it. And I will say, yeah, but you know me, I don't like vulgar jokes anyway. The vulgarity, that is not my cup of tea. At the same time,
I promise you that's
can
not
just-
his real objection.
You can
though.
just not go to the Barbie
Yeah.
movie.
Well,
if you
I
don't
mean, if
wanna
that's his
go.
goal, it didn't work.
Well, I don't know for his people. Because it was, who is
Do you think the people who made the movie care? Because they had a
No,
massive opening.
But here's the thing. I think a lot of people, we talk about silos. There are a lot of people who really like Ben Shapiro
Yeah.
who probably aren't going to see the Barbie movie. He's not preaching to Greta Gerwig. That's
Well,
not, that's
no,
not who
clearly
he's talking
not.
to. And he's not
Yeah, no,
talking.
he knows. No, he
Yeah.
knows. He knows to keep the outrage machine going. He knows exactly what he's doing.
And like I said, I think Ben Shapiro was better.
It's lucrative
pre-
for him.
Yeah, I think he was better 2-3 years ago. I think during the Trump presidency, and some of the times I would listen to him, he called out Donald Trump on a lot of the junk that Trump did, and I thought he made the outrage machine. You're seeing how much money it makes, and then with Candace Owens and then Michael Knowles, that's all part of the Daily Wire. It's not my favorite, but like I said, I want to hear, because people go, oh, you need to pay attention to this. So you're a crazy liberal, Amy. You're not a real Republican. No, I'm reading, listening to
Amy's
everything.
A crazy liberal.
Yeah.
That's oh my God.
And I subscribe
That's
to the
so
National
funny.
Review, and I'll listen to Ben Shapiro because I'm trying to get everybody. I want to hear what people have to
Tell
say.
you what, you can do that, so I don't have to.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
That's what I'm here for.
That's
And
Amy
I
Mark's
probably agree
course.
with Ben Shapiro more than you do.
Oh, wait, more than you agree with me?
No, more than you agree with him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like 100-0.
Yeah, but I just wish he's abrasive. He's gotten
He knows.
way worse.
Dude,
He's not my style. I had to
he
take a
knows
break.
his audience. He knows what makes money, and
Yeah.
he is executing it perfectly. And
just
great
so,
for him.
Yeah, and just so I'm clear, he says a lot of things that I'm like, wow, I really disagree with that. I'm getting people's their opinions.
That's Amy Mark's course. I'm Chris Ranji. I love your opinions, Amy.
Aw, thanks, Ranj.
Hey.
I appreciate yours.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes, most of the time.
314-436-7900, the number on KMOX.
Total Information AM on KMOX recently honored first place for a complete newscast by the Missouri Broadcasters Association.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. During summer, be sure to use dishwashers and stoves in the evening to minimize the effects of heat. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Now, Y98 presents 90 and 60. A look back at St. Louis City's match in Leagues Cup play against Columbus. Presented by Ponce Health Sciences University, creating new pathways and careers in healthcare.
They bring it down the right side. Farsi on the receiving end of a pass on the ground. Leaves it for a friend toward the end line. Another cross and a shot. Hernandez fires and he gets it. Columbus now leads 2-0 at Lower.com Field. Vasilev angles top of the 6 and it ends up deflected in. Joe Akini got to it and somehow it caroms home. City on the board, 6 minutes to play. And the whistle does blow. Columbus wins it tonight. The City falls by a final score of 2-1 to open up the Leagues Cup.
This has been 90 and 60, presented by Ponce Health Sciences University. Up next, it's round 2 of Leagues Cup tournament play as St. Louis City faces Club America Thursday night. Together Credit Union pregame at 8:30. Kick at 9 on Y98 St. Louis.
Aspiring to be a doctor? Didn't score well on the MCAT? Gain all the confidence you need to succeed at Ponce Health Sciences University. Every aspect of a medical career. A Master of Sciences in Medical Science degree. An MSMS from Ponce prepares students for the coursework, the time commitment, and the rigor for a future in healthcare. Learn more at stlouis.psm.edu. That's stlouis.psm.edu.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-pressure colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Nearly a century of informing, entertaining, and serving St. Louis. KMOX.
I'm looking at Amy Marks-Core's face a day before her birthday.
Oh, man. Guys,
I'm Chris Ranji.
I'm going to be 40 tomorrow. And guess what?
No.
We're broadcasting from Bally's Live at
That's right.
Ballpark Village, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a part of an all-day pregame for the Women's World Cup. I think they play the Netherlands tomorrow night. I think that's the big game. 8
All of
o'clock.
them?
They play
All
all
of
the
the
Netherlands.
Wow.
The Netherlanders.
Remember when our U.S. men's team lost to Trinidad and Tobago?
Well,
In
it's kind
one
of
game.
unfair that they had to play both of them in
I
one
don't
game.
think it's fair.
That seems like that'd be like the U.S. men are playing England and Scotland. That's not fair.
When we
You
were talking
can't-
about we were talking about double thubbing earlier, which is being on your phone and ignoring your significant
That's
other or
phubbing.
your friend who's sitting next to you.
That's phubbing.
And you're
That's double phubbing when you're
double
both
thubbing
doing
when
it.
you're both on the phone, not paying attention to the other person.
I don't know if I would read this text.
I don't think it's. I want to know what double farming is.
Okay.
Double farming. This
Now,
texter
I've heard
says,
of-
"I miss double farming. Will it make a comeback?"
I've heard of like double crops, which they said is like
It's the same thing.
It's growing two crops on the same plot of land in the same year, one on the heels of the other, right? You have whatever season and then it's another season. I don't know, maybe that's hard on, to me that sounds hard on the land. I know rotating crops, letting the land rest, so double crops
It's got to
seems
be.
hard on the land.
I don't think it's like a bad thing because I looked in Urban Dictionary to see if double farming is in it and it's not.
Okay.
So it can't be vulgar. It's probably a real thing.
Right,
a real
because Urban
actual
Dictionary
farming
has
thing.
everything that's vulgar plus things that aren't, that they just make
Right, right.
vulgar. Like, oh, playing tennis, that's bad.
They will know about it.
Yes.
This other text message says, "Happy birthday. You're the greatest." Talking to you.
Oh,
Love listening, even with Chris on the show.
hey, thank you so
That's nice.
much. Was it from Pam?
It could have been.
That's Chris's mom.
Could have been. And,
I love Chris's mom, by the way.
yeah,
She is so nice. Like, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever think, man, I hate Ranji so much, I can't take it anymore, just know that his mom is awesome.
Yeah.
Pam is awesome. I am a huge fan.
Well, who do you? Why do you think? Who do you think made her like that? It was me.
I don't, I feel like that's
Isn't that
not
how that works?
I feel like that's not how
Could
it
you
works.
explain to me real quick?
Yeah.
What happened with this lady in Alabama?
Okay. I mean, people.
It's one of those things where I paid vague attention to it.
Mhm.
She called 911 and said, "I see a child on the side of the road," and then she disappeared herself. And apparently there was no child, and there
So-
was no.
Carly Russell is
Yes.
25 years old. And what had happened is she was driving down the highway, driving down an interstate, called 911 and said, "Hey, there's a toddler walking down the side of this interstate." And she's like, "I'm going to pull over and help the toddler." And the 911 dispatcher's like, "Okay, we're sending people out there." She hangs up on 911. She calls her brother's wife, I believe, her sister-in-law, and calls her and said, "I just called 911. There's a toddler on the side of the road. I'm going to help the toddler." And then her sister-in-law or girlfriend-in-law, I think basically something, sister-in-law said she heard Carly yelling for a baby, but didn't hear any response. Then she heard Carly scream, and then the phone was dropped, and all you could hear were highway sounds. And so Carly was missing for a couple of days. And the whole nation was captivated by the story of this woman who tried to save a toddler on the side of the interstate and then herself disappeared. Well, 911 dispatchers and the police were a little bit skeptical. They were surprised that no other person on the highway, no one else had seen this toddler walking down the highway because it was at a random spot, right? And you would think that there'd be more than one person seeing this baby on the side of an interstate. So they didn't have any backup for that story. Well, then Carly showed up a couple days later at her family's door. And as it turns out, she lied about the whole thing.
And
Now-
her attorney said, released a statement and said all of that.
All of it.
That,
So-
that she did this all by herself. And
And here's what Carly Russell told investigators when she first returned, that she had been forced into a car, then was forced into an 18-wheeler before she escaped, only to be abducted again, put in another car. She was then held in a house for a while and then put in another car before
world?
she
So-
escaped and ran home through the woods.
Now, the question that stands now is, what did it cost for all of these people to go looking for her? I mean, it was a relatively short period of time, but still, we're talking about days that happened. So all of this manpower to try and find her, it costs money, costs somebody money, costs taxpayers money, right? This seems like I mean, clearly it's not the exact same situation, but when you have to go look, when 3 countries have to go look for a submersible,
Yeah.
right? And for an expedition that didn't need to happen,
And
somebody paid for this.
Tens of thousands of dollars they're saying so far. But Carly Russell had also, here's what investigators found. She had searched online for information about Amber Alerts and the movie Taken
Oh my God.
before faking this whole
She wanted
story.
to know how old you could be to get an Amber Alert still. That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Hey guys, it's Dave from the Dave Glover Show, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on KMOX. This promo is going to sound like everyone else's promo, but everyone else's promo is a lie. They're just copying off of us. We are the original show about nothing. We're the original show about everything. We're just a bunch of smart people acting stupid and stupid people acting smart. And when you put it all together, it's a pretty good mix. We are 23 years in, and we are STLAF. That's the DGS, 1 to 5 p.m. KMOX.
To throw to second, out of second base, Contreras.
Baseball's best rivalry is back. The Chicago Cubs make their only 2023 visit to Busch Stadium July 27th through the 30th, and you need to be there. Great seats remain, starting at just $10, or enjoy the game like a VIP with an all-inclusive ticket in one of Busch Stadium's premium club areas. That's July 27th through the 30th, the Cardinals and the Cubs at Busch Stadium. Get your tickets today at Cardinals.com.
Calling all witches, wizards, and muggles. Don't miss Harry Potter Night at Busch Stadium on Thursday, August 3rd, when the Cardinals host the Twins. Whether you belong to Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin, fans who purchase a special themed ticket will take home an exclusive Harry Potter-inspired Cardinals t-shirt. For tickets or details, visit cardinals.com/theme.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Glickert with the St. Louis Weight Loss Secret, and I know the secret. My unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd love to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no HCG, no surgery, and no hypnosis,
call my office now at 314-207-8600.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I really needed some help getting rid of those pandemic pounds, and St. Louis Weight Loss Secret has made it easy for me. I started losing weight right away and have lost 20 pounds in just 1 month eating real food, healthy food. I feel great. I'm going to keep going. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month, a half pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 314-207-8600. 314 loss.com.
12:30, some sun and 91 degrees downtown at the Arch. One of the sons of superstar NBA champion LeBron James has been rushed to the hospital.
Bronny James, the 18-year-old son of NBA superstar LeBron James, is said to be out of intensive care and in stable condition after going into cardiac arrest during a workout at USC Monday. Bronny was rushed by ambulance to the hospital after collapsing at USC's Galen Center, where the team plays and practices. The 18-year-old rising talent is committed to playing for the Trojans this upcoming school year. Erica Herskowitz for CBS News, New York.
SAG-AFTRA union members continue their strike with picket lines across the nation. Members rallied in New York City today. Big-name celebrities joined in the fight, including Christian Slater.
And I might not seem representative of a fight that many are rightly calling existential for the average working actor, but it's our ability to earn fair wages at every level that allows us to collectively fund a safety net that any one of us might depend on one day.
I'm Tom Ackerman. Cardinals and Diamondbacks tonight on KMOX. An 8:40 first pitch for Merrill Kelly for Arizona. Stephen Matz starts for St. Louis. The Diamondbacks are 4 games out in the National League West Division race, but they've lost 5 in a row, tied with the Giants and trailing the Dodgers in that division. The Cardinals are 11 games out and 11 games under 500 as they close in on 1 week before the trade deadline. This Cardinals report is sponsored by Aloha Pools USA. Swim next summer, alohapoolsusa.com.
Partly sunny and hot today with a high of 95 to 100. Tonight, we could have a thunderstorm around with a low 78. And for tomorrow, mix of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm in parts of the area. Breezy conditions as well with a high of 96. At the moment, it's 91. It feels like 98 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, so why don't we do something about it? With Neovitin Men's 50 Plus, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Formulated for men over 50, Neovitin Men's 50 Plus gives you B vitamins to support energy and our proprietary physician-formulated blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Do something about your health today with Neovitin Men's 50 Plus. Available at your local Schnucks and Dearbergs.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
Summer is all about outdoor fun, but it's no fun when your feet hurt. At New Balance St. Louis, we have the perfect pair of shoes for you. Our fit pros take the time to understand your lifestyle and how to provide the best fitting shoes for your activities. Every customer receives a personalized fitting experience to find the perfect pair of New Balance shoes. 3 locations on both sides of the river: Creve Coeur, Richmond Heights, and Fairview Heights. New Balance St. Louis, nationally known, locally owned.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt. Hi, I'm Miles Michaelis.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It's the Cards and Diamondbacks tonight. Emron Total Access, 7:45. First pitch, 8:40.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
We're on the Odyssey app, listening live. You could do that. You can also listen on KMOX.com. Don't forget 1120 AM and 98.7 FM. This is KMOX. The Odyssey app, by the way, you can listen to Cardinals baseball if you are in the area. Have it on your phone. It's perfect. It's great. You'll love it. Amy Marks Coors, Chris Ranji, and we are getting into that time where we're soon going to be right into the thick of it, sooner than you realize, where the campaign season, the real campaign season, will get going. And there was a lot of promise for Ron DeSantis, governor out of Florida, that he could become the Republican nominee. The odds of that look worse and worse as the days go on. We go to the Quiver River Electric guest line this afternoon. We visit with staff writer for the New Republic, Alex Shepard, who is with us. Thank you, Alex, for being with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be with you.
So it appears that Governor DeSantis is losing support. There was, again, a lot of hope for him. I remember having conversations here months ago that if he were to be the nominee, he would very likely beat current President Biden. Why do you believe he is losing support?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of potential reasons for that. And I guess all of them come with the caveat that, it's July 25th and an odd numbered year, and the election will only probably really start ramping up in the fall. That said, I think DeSantis, the field was cleared for him pretty early by donors in particular. There was a lot of hope, especially after he really romped to victory in his reelection last year. At a moment in which many of Donald Trump's handpicked candidates in the midterms lost in quite embarrassing fashion. But what we've seen since then is a pretty steady decline, and a lot of that I think comes from overstating certain parts of his record. He's really emphasized the sort of culture war fights, particularly his battles with Disney and newer ones with Bud Light. I think his role during the pandemic is less important to voters as we sort of move, I guess, away from the COVID era. But at the same time, what we've seen again and again is that his sort of retail politics skills, especially when he's in New Hampshire and Iowa, where he seems to be running for president of Iowa a lot of the time, that voters are not really responding, that he has a kind of cold touch. But again, mostly he also has the other problem, which is just that Republican voters have really, really, really rallied behind Donald Trump in the wake of 2 indictments and the third coming down the pike any moment now. I certainly expect that trend to continue.
Yeah, it's crazy because going back to the heart of COVID and 60 Minutes doing their special on Ron DeSantis, where they portrayed incorrectly kind of his stance regarding COVID and painted him as this fascistic, careless leader. I think people really rallied behind him. And I remember thinking, Ron DeSantis is going to be president or run for president, and we have 60 minutes to think. And it seemed that he was going to be the next Donald Trump without all the baggage. And the more people, as you point out, the more people get to know him, the more they don't like him. He is exceedingly off-putting. And it never occurred to me that Ron DeSantis, with all the momentum that he had and all the junk that Trump brings along with him, would be so unlikable that people think, no, we'll go back to Trump. How is that possible, that his personality is such that this is the reputation he's garnering when it comes to kissing babies and shaking hands?
Yeah, I think, look, retail politics are a skill that you can't learn, but I think they're especially hard to learn as somebody who lives in New York State. If you're the governor of a big state, you're kept away from people a lot of the time. You're dealing with special interest groups. You're, managing, well, in Florida's case, it's really a one-party state at this point. And I think what we're seeing is, to some extent, just a level of rustiness. But I think there's another argument here as well, which is that the chaos and the baggage, as you put it, around Donald Trump is this kind of double-edged sword. It obviously turns off a lot of people, but a lot of voters look at that and they see it as the sort of emblem of Donald Trump's authenticity. And DeSantis has tried to kind of backfill that. His first term was mostly spent doing kind of normal post-Trump gubernatorial stuff. And he's kind of, he does a thing now, which I describe as, there's a segment on, what used to be Tucker Carlson, now on Jesse Waters, about this corporation is, it's gone woke. He'll kind of go and say, well, I'm going to make a law about it. Whereas Donald Trump has always kind of owned those conversations. He has largely kind of stayed out of a lot of the newer Target, M&M, Bud Light kinds of fiascos. His feuds stem from Donald Trump directly. And I think that, DeSantis has thought that he could kind of portray himself as, a red meat, rabid culture warrior in the vein of Trump, but that, once voters are taking a closer look at it, they don't really buy it. Another point, just very briefly on that line as well, is that, I think as much as these things dominate conservative media, when you look at the polling, for the most part, a lot of the sort of culture war issues, they rank relatively low. And again, I think, DeSantis's COVID response, as much as people focused on the pandemic itself, what most people in Florida at least liked was that he just kept the state open. It was open for business. People were making money. People were moving there. And instead of making that argument that I was a strong steward for Florida in a difficult time, he tried to sort of invert it and say, well, I was fighting the corrupt establishment. But you're not hearing people talking about arresting, Anthony Fauci on the trail as much as you did certainly a year ago.
What's interesting to me? When I hear the word woke, I hear Ron DeSantis saying it because he says it over, and I'm not even trying to make a joke here. He says it over and over and over again. And as I'm sitting here thinking about former President Trump, I can't think of a time I've heard that come out of his mouth. That word specifically. He doesn't really say it unless I'm missing it, right?
The only time I can really remember him saying it was, it must have been about 2 months ago. In a speech, he just said, well, people say this word all the time. Half of them can't even define it,
Yeah.
And, DeSantis in his interview with Jake Tapper said more or less the same thing, although he was like, well, I know what it is. And I think, for DeSantis, for others, it's become a kind of shorthand for this idea that there's a kind of, there's a synthesis between the corporate world, the media, and Democratic politicians that is forcing social change on unsuspecting Americans. But DeSantis's way to respond to that has largely been to legislate it, and that I think creates another, creates a kind of equal and opposite problem. If you accept the first part of it, which is, you have these issues, they're obviously contested, but book bans in the state, the war on Disney, obviously, comes up against free speech issues as well. And again, I think it's just an abstraction, and as a political talking point, I'm going to be the person who rescues you from the tyranny of Bud Light. I think it still is not as strong an argument as just, I'm going to make the economy run well and keep you safe.
Well, yeah. And Alex, like I'm a conservative. I've been a lifelong conservative. And when I look at Ron DeSantis, I don't see a conservative. I see this new brand of like pugilistic, bombastic populism that's kind of taken over the GOP with Trump. And when I think of weaponizing the government against individuals and against companies, that's what I see Ron DeSantis doing. I don't see small government. I mean, we have right now, he's asking the Florida State Pension Fund manager to consider legal action against AB InBev because they chose to, share a Bud Light can with a trans influencer. And to me, that is kind of the antithesis of conservatism.
Yeah, and I think one of the ironies for me of this is that DeSantis, a year ago, maybe a little more, had actually a decent small, he was straddling both lines, right? The sort of culture warrior stuff was there, but it was still mostly focused on people. Largely he had taken, again, a small C conservative route. And obviously there was a Times investigation on Sunday that is worth looking at about the effects of this, but in keeping the state open and sort of allowing people to make their own decisions. But he has, I think, come out more aggressively than any other candidate in taking the, in my opinion, authoritarian parts of the Trump thing and making that the centerpiece of his campaign. And what we're seeing so far is that that's not really working. The other problem, though, honestly, is just that it does seem like Donald Trump's floor with Republican voters, though maybe not as high as some estimated, is still well over 40%. And with a crowd getting increasingly with the field becoming increasingly crowded, what we're seeing now are the sort of second tier candidates cannibalizing each other. So now you have a situation in which, instead of a head to head race between Trump and DeSantis, which is what, major Republican donors and Rupert Murdoch tried to do, you're now seeing a situation in which Trump, might be between 40 and 50%, but you've got DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, you've got Tim Scott, to a lesser extent, Nikki Haley, all fighting over, the remaining 50-ish%.
One of the, I guess, angles I've heard taken about DeSantis is there is a similarity to Donald Trump with him. But if I'm going to vote for Donald Trump, why wouldn't I just vote for Donald Trump instead of somebody who's like him? Is that is that fair? And if that's the case, what would have to happen in order for him to make up all this ground?
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the things that keeps occurring to me as I talk to voters is that, I think what people like about Donald Trump is that he's a fighter, he's a pugilist, he picks his fights, he doesn't always win them, but there is a sense that people get that he is not like other politicians. And I think Ron DeSantis, for as much as he's tried to kind of take the points of Trump and construct them into a political persona, he does not wear it authentically. He wears it like a politician. You saw this at the tail end of the 2016 campaign as well, when both Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, I think, frankly, kind of humiliated themselves by trying to sort of just imitate Donald Trump. But DeSantis now is, I think, kind of caught in a bind, in part because his greatest asset, his youth, has made him kind of tethered to this sort of Trumpist pose. So now we're watching as Republican donors, and I think certainly some anti-Trump and never Trump folks that I talk to, they're looking for an alternative. And I do think in someone like Tim Scott, who is not polled particularly well, you do at least see a contrast, right? You see some of, Ronald Reagan's sunnier side in him. You see someone who has more ties to the conservative movement. But DeSantis, I think, is just caught in a trap of his own making, where the more he struggles, the more he tries to sound like Donald Trump. But the more he tries to sound like Donald Trump, the more he reminds voters that he's not him.
Yeah, I mean, this will be extremely fascinating. And I think the one thing I can say about Trump is that he is very authentically him. Like there's not, seriously, he's not trying to play a part. You know, I think he, you know, when they ask him about the Bible, for example, and he kind of dances his way around the question, I think he's, you know, doing what a lot of us do in school if we didn't do the homework. But otherwise, he is him. He is Donald Trump. He doesn't play a part. He just is himself.
And I think that's also what's so interesting. I think it was Dexter Filkins for the New Yorker wrote this long profile on Ron DeSantis a couple of years ago, or maybe a year ago. And just the guy is smart and he's driven, but to a fault, where he alienated himself even from his friends, from members of the Yale baseball team.
Right.
So the guy it's not that he's an idiot. He's just profoundly unlikable. And doesn't come across it's like he's a robot trying to pretend to be human. Whereas Donald Trump,
he's not pretending to be anybody. He is exactly who he always is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think DeSantis is, you know, I've been talking about him as this kind of inauthentic person, but the other flaw in his campaign so far is I think he does actually genuinely believe in a lot of the more authoritarian aspects of the campaign as well, which is also something where he's wedded in. But with Trump, you know, I think the key dynamic for me that explains a lot of the American political drift over the last, you could say, 30 or 40 years is that voters they hate politicians. A lot of them hate politicians. And, you know, usually the thing that works is that you hate the politicians on the other side a little bit more than you hate the ones on your side. But for people who really dislike politicians, Donald Trump is a shining beacon, right? He is someone who will remind you constantly that he's not like calculated, these sort of calculated, constructed forces. And I think that has remained the sort of key dynamic in Republican politics. Now, the other issue that we're seeing right now, and again, we're still quite early and both the presumed frontrunners are deeply unpopular, is just that, you know, despite the fact that Trump has largely been out of the limelight, at least to the way he was before, that voters, generally speaking, independent voters and Democrats, like him less than they did before. And these indictments aren't helping. I think the third one that's coming down the pike is the worst one. And that may get even worse as the primary gets started. So you could see some more panic from other folks there. But I think right now, you know, his hold is just, it's just very, very solid. And, you know, at least, you know, again, we're 6 months away from the Iowa caucuses, but you know, it still seems like the race, the only contested race in the primary right now is who's going to be Donald Trump's running mate.
Thank you for your time today, Alex. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Alex Shepard, staff writer at the New Republic, with us here on KMOX. And I will say that's one thing that I will absolutely give Donald Trump is that he does not pretend to be another guy.
And he never did. He never pretended to be anyone else.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I use the Bible question as an example when he was asked, and I forgot it was some TV show during his first campaign. And it was, what is your favorite Bible verse? And he's like, oh, you know, I like them all. I don't really want to pick one out because he doesn't know. Right. But I think that's something we have all done before. And
I know we need to break. I will say this because we knew who he was going into 2016. The one thing he has pretended to do is he pretends to get conservative Christians like, I get it. I get what you're feeling. I'm with you. You know, I'm pro-life. He's not. He's none of that. He's pretended. He's pretended to understand what it means to be a conservative, a Christian, a pro-life, whatever it may be, as if he gets that it's the voice that's not heard.
But for the most part, he is very direct about who he is overall. His character, for sure. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Well, if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle, you really do need to check out Genesis before you buy anything else. Even if you think you have your dream car in mind and you're like, no, I know what I want. You need to head on over to Genesis of St. Charles and take a Genesis for a test drive. Trust me, it is the best kept secret in luxury, and you need to do yourself a favor. Also, right now, the Genesis luxury sedan GV70 has $2,500 in rebates and savings, and that's in addition to other special offers that you may qualify for. So a luxury vehicle plus some rebates and savings and a special, you can't beat that. You need to check it out. Genesis of St. Charles is part of the St. Charles Automotive Group. That means it's true one-stop shopping with St. Charles Hyundai, St. Charles Nissan, and the largest pre-owned inventory in the area, 250, 300 pre-owned vehicles at any given time on the lot. So you really can walk in to Genesis of St. Charles and find the car that you want. And in fact, no haggling. The price you see online is the price you pay. So you could do the whole process in less than 60 minutes. A quarter mile east of Mid Rivers Mall Drive, just off Highway 70, or genesisofstcharles.com.
Get ready to celebrate KMOX Day at the ballpark. Returning to Busch Stadium Wednesday, August 30th. With a purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home an exclusive KMOX Cardinals stein. Celebrating the all-time great That's a Winner Jack Buck call.
The winner, a World Series winner for the Cardinals.
Only fans that present their theme ticket at the distribution will be eligible to receive the item. Exchanges will not be available at distribution. KMOX Day at the ballpark, Wednesday, August 30th. Get your tickets now.
Refresh, restore, and protect your investment. Call Zero Res to clean your business the right way so that your floors and surfaces stay cleaner longer without the harmful chemicals the other guys use. 314-474-2020. Make sure you ask for the DGS special or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
When do you need to see an ophthalmologist? Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Now, that's a good question. If your vision is blurry, you notice dark spots in the middle of your field of vision, you're seeing flashes or new floaters, if you have difficulty seeing distances, if there's a sharp pain in one eye along with vision changes, or if you have trouble driving because of glare, these are all good reasons to make your appointment with the doctors and ophthalmology associates, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com. And if your eyes are itchy and scratchy, that might be more than allergies. The doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Andrew Royer, and Robert Brusati are also leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. I've been a patient of theirs for about 25 years. In Sullivan, St. Peter's, and their main headquarters, 270 in Manchester, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com.
Over 30 years ago, it was that can-do spirit which helped the founder of Reinhold Flooring start the business, installing Reinhold quality carpet and beautiful flooring himself. Now, Reinhold Flooring is still family-owned and operated and winning St. Louis Magazine's best flooring store 2 years in a row. With Reinhold Flooring, it's not about the sale, it's about the amazing floor to perfectly match your house and your life. Customer driven since day one. Visit ReinholdFlooring.com. With so many ideas you can do it with the can-do crew at Reinhold Flooring. ReinholdFlooring.com.
The greatest radio talk show host ever.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors on KMOX.
Oh, look at this, Amy. Happy birthday. This is to the text line, 314-436-7900. Happy birthday, Amers.
Aw.
Go to the wine store, get a bottle of Apple Crisp wine, and enjoy. Think you will love it. You seem like, are you an Apple Crisp wine kind of person?
I'm not. I'm more of a bourbon kind of person. So we're doing a bourbon.
Another texter says, Amy, turning 40. She's just a baby. She'll be one of those people who, when they're 80, look like they're 50. Love your show, and Chris, and happy early birthday to you.
Aww.
I think it's, you know what's going to happen to you?
What?
It's going to be the Tom Cruise effect. You're going to look 35 to 40 until you're 60. And then when you turn 60, you're going to look 105.
First of all, that is pretty mean.
Is it?
Second of all, I think I am the oldest looking of all the ladies in my family. My mom and sister look so young.
Do they?
And I blame, well, first of all, I do have genetic, like, crow's feet around my eyes. Because I've got a picture from high school. I'm 17 and I'm standing there smiling and I've got crow's feet. So they're somewhat genetic. But here's what running does. It makes you fit, but it makes you look old because you're in the sun and the sweat and you're dehydrated. You get a little wrinkly.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks my sister is younger than I am. She's older than I am by 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. And then my sister and my mom are a lot of times mistaken for sisters themselves. They've got curly reddish hair. They look very young. And then there's me.
Do you think that you were left on the doorstep of a firehouse?
Well, you could think that, except I look exactly like my mom and
Oh,
dad.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I look the genes are strong in the Mark scores.
There's a little. Your brother looks a little like you
See, I don't see that
in the
at
face.
all.
There's a
I think
mouth thing.
That's interesting because I
Yep.
don't see that at all. I feel like I look just like my dad. Who do you look like, your mom or your dad?
I look more like when I was young. People said I looked like my mom, but
Mhm.
as I got older, I definitely look like my dad.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I'm
Absolutely
like
wild.
a young twin of my dad. It's
I did
crazy.
the old face app thing. I forgot what it was, and
Yeah.
it was my dad's face, and I went, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
oh god, that was freaky."
Weird.
So the Glover show's coming up. 1:00 happy hour with Amy and me.
But tomorrow,
Ballpark Village, Valley Live. Come see us on KMOX.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first